It with son Alex. It's been this way for the last year.
I want to take my baby and hug him, and it's.
Although 18 years old, the state of Georgia considers Alex a dependent child with high needs. He has severe autism. Being away from family complicates his behavior even more, his mom says.
What is it like interacting with him?
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. There's visits a lot that you can tell he's biting his nails, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he tries to get close to the screen and trying to come at mom,
Back in 2011, when Danielle served prison time for felony forgery, she gave guardianship of her special needs son to the grandmother. The grandmother died a year ago. That's when the state intervened. The agency tasked with child welfare, the Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services, or DFACS, decided Alex needed to be placed in a residential facility for behavioral health. The problem? The closest available one was hundreds of miles away, near Houston, Texas.
They said there was no placements in Georgia.
Court records show DFACS alleged Danielle was not an appropriate placement for the child. These texts reveal a caseworker told Danielle, quote, "No local placement available. We've been looking for several months." The Texas site was his only option.
They want the family involved, and I'm like, well, I can go on there and see him, but I'm 4 states away, and it's not like I can just up and walk out.
I hope that my words do not fall on deaf ears.
Advocates have sounded the alarm on stories similar to Alex's. A joint committee in the state legislature is now tackling the issue of high needs cases. It's all connected to the cost of care. Advocates allege the state's own residential facilities can make more profit when they take more out-of-state patients, kids coming to Georgia for help, which in turn leaves fewer residential facility options for kids who are already state residents, meaning local kids have to leave Georgia for help. Child welfare workers also cite the lack of specialized training and staff shortages in our state. Finally, experts blame the state's own insurance company, Amerigroup, for failing to approve costly claims.
I personally reviewed and witnessed these extremely medically fragile children and youth being routinely and systematically denied medically necessary PRTF treatment. Regardless of the child or youth's medical circumstances, they will all receive the exact same formulaic denial notice.
The dilemma devastating for families like Danielle's, whose parental aunt is helping, seeking custody of Alex.
And I love you.
At the very least, getting resources for him here in Georgia.
They are supposed to provide services and help to prevent the placement, and they failed to do that.
Good evening and welcome to Rescue the Fosters. I am Gino, your host, and next to me, as always, the co-founder and co-host of Rescue the Fosters, Sylvia Beachy. Sylvia, how are you?
I'm good, Gino. I'm glad to have Danielle on because we have been talking for a while and working together, but I hate that Cherokee County just keeps coming up. This is what, Gino, you think our 4th episode, I think, that we've had on Cherokee County?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the same thing over and over. So that's really concerning.
Very concerning. Georgia, I would have never suspected until a couple of years ago how corrupt it is. I for sure Florida, Arizona, California. You think of those, but Georgia would have been the one pretty low on my list. But it turns out it's pretty corrupt. And it's corrupt from the top down.
Yep. The devil really did come to Georgia, and he wears many hats. People think, oh, it's a red state or it's Republican. Well, if you look, it's actually the Republicans and the Democrats. They worked for the same the same player. It's all the same thing, and it's money. But let me read Danielle's bio, and then she can tell her story. Danielle Wall is a Cherokee County mother who is fearlessly exposing the corruption inside Georgia DFATS and the family court system. After her autistic son was wrongfully removed by DFATS without a court order, any judicial oversight, Marie uncovered what she now calls a non-judicial kidnapping, a removal carried out through guardianship fraud, ICPC violations, and the complete denial of her 14th Amendment due process rights. Her journey began with the wrongful removal of her autistic son Alex following the death of his legal guardian. Despite a court-ordered guardianship being in place and no legal grounds for defects with involvement, without legal notice, a court order, or compliance with the Interstate Compact on the Placement of Children, ICPC, Georgia DFAT sent Alex across state lines to a Texas facility, violating his civil liberties and her federally protected parental rights. Ms. Wall and a family member, Debbie Brown, ultimately succeeded in bringing her son home. Danielle has released songs called Freedom from Fears and Whispers in the Shadows and Invisible while on this fight for changes in our child welfare system. Free from fears, sign us out about Georgia's very own vulnerable children and foster care children. And I know you have been doing a lot of work, Danielle, so I'll let you talk about that also. Welcome.
Hey, I don't even know where to start. I know that you would never think that a family member passing away unexpectedly would bring a nightmare like this to your own children. And it just wasn't fair. It wasn't, it was confusing. It was just horrible. Like something I feared when I asked my family for help in 2011, when I did get in trouble and was going to prison. Y'all heard in the news story that, I did go, and that's what started the fact that my kids were with family members was because, I had gotten some trouble and I needed to make sure my children were safe and secure during my time, and, with being in the system myself, with probation, I always had to think about longevity. What if I couldn't provide for them? What if I could? So to make sure that they were safe and stable, we left it until the kids were 18. Like I still had my parental rights, just an agreement between me and the family members. But it was just me and my mom for my son. I do have 2 other kids and 2 girls. And that is a story for another, because they did, while all this was going on, my son, they did take my rights from my girls behind my back. Underneath the, I don't even so I have wrote, I don't even know where, y'all have any questions? Cause
well, I think it's interesting that when you went into prison, they gave the children to your mom. Your mom dies unexpectedly just before your release. And why was it okay to be with a family member at that point? Your mom, and maybe not someone else in the family.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Like my son, there was family, that the one that you seen in me violate probation or something. Like I've never, I couldn't even think. Like by the time when my mother passed, and by the time the case, even when I found my son, but they had never reached out to family members or even myself. And there was family that was willing to get my son, and they were ready. They were asking where my son was. And that's the ones that were in that video, and that's the ones that still till this they've helped me out a lot, because they would have, if it was up to the Cherokee County, they would have kept my son away from me. That's why, I still can't even answer till this day why he was sent 4 states away, when the facility that he was in Texas, there's one right here in Georgia, 20 minutes from my house, from where I stay, literally.
It was Devereaux, right?
Devereaux, yes. And right. And it's the same place. Like with me being on probation, though, I have to have a travel pass. So it would be harder for me to be able to go out and see him. And I believe that was one of the hiccups there. Like they were just trying to make anything and everything impossible. And they kept him out there 2 years. And we took it upon ourselves to stop listening to them and getting railroaded by them. And we got our own tickets and went out there and got him. I mean, that they were giving us, like, when I tell you somebody's playing games, they were playing games with my family. I'm like,
Yeah.
my family. And it was like they would change the dates. Oh, well, this and that. They even got rid of the good ones that were doing their job. All of a sudden, they're not even on the case anymore. How I found out where my family member had took him from as soon as I showed up to my parents' house, and I didn't see him for 2 months after that. Like she told him she didn't know where I was or hadn't talked to me, but yet you just saw me and we just talked at the like cremation. Like, I don't understand it. And maybe I'll never get answers, but why my son? Why my kid? Why couldn't you just let, I mean, and it's all, and the Cherokee County for them to go in and with bad intentions with all this with my family member, that's wrong. Like, they didn't contact or nothing. And how I got contacted about my son was on Facebook through Messenger from a caseworker that they tried to tell me was never working for the system, the county. So, but she did contact me on Facebook, and shortly after that, she was no longer my caseworker. Like, she was no longer, like, I saw her one time and that was it. But that's how it's like, it was like shame on her for getting in touch with me, because that's how messed up it is. And I mean, it's just, they've tried to have me sent to prison. I mean, they wanted me sent to prison. When I also have a disabled brother that's in my care, and I had to go to Florida to get him because there was a hurricane coming right after my mom passed, and it was just like everything. And when I went and got him, I could not let probation know, so I ended up getting in trouble for not getting permission to leave the state. I was in emergency, so I did. And they thought when I showed up to my February 6th court date right upon my release, right after I got released, it's like they were surprised. Like, whoa. Because like the document that I showed you, Sylvia, for that February 6th court date that they nunc pro tunc, that was the first actual, but they had me at the adjudication and disposition. But that one, they kept me in the holding cell in the courtroom basement. I never appeared in that courtroom. And next thing I know, when I showed up at the court date on the 6th, it's like, whoa. And they had to make everything. It's like they already had everything pre-planned for my son. That's what it felt like. And that's exactly what it was. So it's like Danielle, they already had him. Go ahead. Sorry
to interrupt. But before we get too far down the tracks, I want to rewind a little bit. Yeah. Because I just want the audience to understand your case. I know you know it inside and out, but I want to add a little nomenclature and some order to it. Okay, so I think at the beginning is very important. So you get incarcerated. It has nothing to do with abuse or neglect, correct?
No, I went to prison in 2000. I was getting sentenced to prison in 2011. I was getting sentenced, and I had to make sure my kids did not wind up in the system's hands because of me going away for a minute, So I asked my family for help, and that's what they did. They stepped up to help, and we went in front of the judge. The judge said that he was leaving it up to me and the family to decide what to do, and leaving it. DFCS he said there's no reason for them to be involved. So I did my time. I got out, and everything was fine until 2022, when my mom passed away.
And that's the way it should be. That's a good judge. The judge says, you know what? There's family. There's a loving family around her. They can take care of the child. And everything's fine. We'll just go with that. No need to put a government agency involved. So that's the way it should be in all these cases. And
back then, exactly. Back then, I've seen so many here recently. So many of these guardianship cases are. I said that. I mean, I can't answer that because all I did was ask we had an agreement, and the judge approved. He left it up like a guardianship should be. I trust my family, but a verbal, voluntary agreement. But the way it's been going, like since I believe 2019 is what I can trace it back to for Cherokee County, because even some friends of mine from all them years, it's never. I mean, I've been at this courthouse. I've been very because I'm on probation and I was in drug court. I've never seen it. When you go up to that juvenile court floor, it's like you're not allowed there. It's like you're forbidden to be there. That's how. So
you're saying the corruption has increased since 2019? You know that
Yes.
2019 is when I started receiving calls about Cherokee County. That was my first call was in 2020 about Cherokee County.
Really?
Yep.
And that,
2019
wow.
is when I
Because
tried to rescue
that's
my
when
daughter
I
out
was telling a
of
friend, I said,
Shirley
I
County, Florida.
can everything that what I've been through, and even like, because I never had to deal with the courts or nothing after the guardianship. Like when I stepped foot back in the juvenile courts up there was 2023 February. Besides being in the holding cell at the courthouse, that was, I mean, I never had to, so that's how much it was. It was actually running pretty half decent, I would say, but in 2019, I'm just the stories I've heard, and even just 2022 when I had to get him, like when DFCS involved themselves in my life, and then I got caught. I mean, it's a totally different ball game. It's nothing like it was in 2011. Nothing. It is like I am a scum and not allowed on that floor. Like that's what it feels like, and you even get them vibes when you walk off the elevator.
Oh, wow.
It's yeah. I mean,
See,
even people. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was saying, even people that are employed with the county that work there that I've had as maybe a probation officer or even in the other program I was in, it's like they act like they don't even know. Like they just like you
They
ain't
act like they
nothing.
don't
Like
know you.
totally different. Yeah, exactly. Totally. And I'm like, wow, like whoa. I mean, and it just
Wow.
I mean that I can't get over that. Like it just it irks me. Like it's disgusting that they could think that and knowing what they're doing. I mean, and the things that they got going on. I mean, I have that, like, just to try to keep it's like the third floor is supposed to be a hush hush floor is what I could say. That's what I swear. Like that's how it feels. It's like the other superior, like when I was in criminal court for probation, everything ran fine. But with that third floor, man, it's evil. It's something evil about it. It's
Wow.
just it's
Partnership
very, you can feel it, you can see
Florida.
it, and you could and these parents are just I mean, it's like you're a totally different person when you walk out in a negative way when you walk out of that juvenile court, those two doors going to the elevator. It's like, I mean, it's something that is not cool. It's not cool. And like right now, I'm even hearing that they got dumpsters in front of the courthouse and the Casa building up there in Cherokee.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Gino, there's some documents that I sent you that I want you to pull up for Danielle. Danielle, I can't remember what the document is called, the one that
The protective, the one that says that when they violated that, this judge that is my judge that was over my case, he was, I guess he got appointed in 20. I know he just got he got appointed after 2019, I believe, but he was like new to all this corruption stuff, and you could tell because even in this order, they said at the beginning of when I got all my paperwork finally, they were saying that they found reasonable efforts, but no, they didn't. They didn't reach out to nobody. So when I showed up, and I showed up to that February 6th court date, but you see that it says November 10th. I was not at November 10th date that they had, and I didn't even know nothing about. But they said they exhausted all reasonable efforts and they contacted the family, but this one says on the second page, I believe, that they violated the original guardianship order, the guardianship order.
yeah, if you
Right there.
scroll down.
There you go, right there. Yep. Because and what happened with the original order, I was supposed to be able to get my son, go back in front of the courts and tell them, hey, this is what's going on, this is what happened, and retain legal custody of my son, like, it just pretty much, it was paperwork, that was all. And they totally went against all that. And this is the first time I've seen anything about the guardianship order, because I can tell you, they've destroyed that case file for 2011. I promise you. They're even doing it to my daughters.
I can talk
because
to you.
my daughter's cases are my middle daughter's starting to look like my son's case. Like they're writing in the case number and everything. They're trying to destroy these case files. Like getting rid of the past.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to drag this whole situation with my son in 2022 all the way back to 2011 and I wish I would have sent you that, of the adjudication and disposition. They tried to say that it was um that the findings of dependency or whatnot, or I think that's what they said, was that because of the original case from and I never finished my case plan. I never had a case plan. I never had nothing. Like
That's right,
they,
because you gave
they
guardianship, everything was done. You did not have a, so they said that you had a case plan?
yeah, they said that it was due, the reason for dependency issues was due to the original guardianship case from way back then, when that, and that I did not complete the terms of my case. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then my court appointed attorney told me she don't deal with nothing before the day she was appointed. So if they would have if she would have did the right thing and represented me from day one, which would have been the day that my son was, the day of the case started, when DFCS involved themselves, that would have been, apparently it was September, because my mom passed away in September, because there was stuff done in secret. Like it was all, I mean, apparently there was a call to DFAX and by my aunt, and said that I abandoned my son. What?
Wow.
Yes. So they went by false. So with them doing this, but the attorney, because I was raising like trying to get their attention on the first 2 months. I said, wait a minute, y'all are wrong. There is an order already in place for me and my mom and my son. Why can't I go to court? Why can't I go back? And that's what the lawyer told me. She said she only represents me from the day she was appointed, which was the day I was in the holding cell in the bottom of the courthouse. On December 15th, 2022. If she would have that right there will tell you how corrupt they are. Because after that, she didn't talk to me, nothing. Like they isolated me from a lot of things, everything.
So if DFATS would have never received a call, they would have never gotten involved because they would have not had a reason, right?
Exactly, because they had no reason, because I was supposed to go to the courthouse with my son, not DFCS. DFCS had no reason to be involved in my life at all, upon my mother's, even at my mother's death. But they did receive a call September 26th. It's on the court. I found out it's on the court documents, and September 26th they received a call, and it had to have been from my aunt, that my son was without a legal caregiver, and that I abandoned him, which was a complete lie. Yep. And it's and them saying like my daughter's special needs. I mean, they it's like they fabricated a whole case right there upon my mother's death. Like I
Well, it's
mean,
like
even
they
ahead,
just needed a door open, right? They needed the door
yes.
open. Then
Oh,
they see
and
kids
they
with
saw this.
disabilities. Yep, they see disabilities. That's a huge one. They see. I'm
Yep.
assuming you're a single mom.
Yeah.
Single mom,
and
another target on your back. Like they're looking for soft targets. That's, I guess, the best way to explain it. And we've seen this pattern. I don't know how many shows we've done, but I've seen this similar pattern in other cases where there was a disability in with one of the children, and the mom was single. And then even in some, Sylvia, I don't remember some of the names of the people we've had on that were incarcerated. Same type situation. Coming out of incarceration, all of a sudden their child's gone or being taken or investigated. Like, and the crimes, again, the crime that you serve time for has nothing to do with child abuse or neglect.
Well, even with my probation, they helped me get my son home. When I needed that travel pass last minute, I mean, it was getting to be where my aunt had to get on the plane. She had to get on the plane. I mean, we had to pay for the tickets ourselves. If they could have, and we would have let them, they would have probably let us on for until they got my son for good. Like that's, when I called because she told me at a compliance hearing in 2022 that probation did, they said, Miss Wild, we will do anything to help you get your son home. And that when that time came, I'll be darned, they did. She said, you get on that plane, and she said, I promise you'll have that travel pass waiting. And she said, get that boy home. And that's what's up, because I've been on probation for a long time, and these people, they've seen me at my worst, they've seen me at my best, and I wasn't no perfect angel. But I mean, when it comes to the right thing and what's right and wrong, they knew it was, they know it's wrong. They could not believe my son was in foster care when I told them. They could not believe it. Like, wow. That's how much, I mean, they even told my boyfriend, they said, we've seen her, this girl at her worst, we've seen it at her best, and we will do anything to help her get her son home, because that's how much my family and me would show how protective we are of the kids of the family. Like, and for this to happen, it's like, wow. Like my mother to pass, and because I even have a disabled brother that's in my care. I have him here with me now, and they don't. I can't even get help for him. No.
Wow.
Like, but they want to hold my son, like keep my son, and then they send him out to that facility, and they were making fun of him out there on when I was on a video visit with him one time when he first got out there. Are you easy money, Alex? Easy money? And I got that on record. Yeah.
Wow. And I would like for you to talk about Devereaux, because it's not a place for an autistic child. This is, if you don't know anything about Devereaux, please, people, look it up. This is a kid prison. A kid prison.
Yeah.
It is a lockdown facility.
Yeah.
The staff members are allowed to put their hands on the children.
Yep.
And what that means is that if for any reason, they can throw them to the ground, they can do whatever they want. Children end up with shoulders out of place.
Mhm.
I had one child who,
My son had bruises on him, his
yeah,
clothes torn. He got jumped on a video visit one time. I got it by a naked kid. They let and I got every visit I recorded, but a naked young man tried to jump my son when we were saying our good nights. You can hear the commotion in the background, and I guess they were trying to stop him. But yes, you could see the boy lunging at my son, and I'm like, and then they grabbed the tablet and go to hide it, and said they had a crisis going on. I'm like, I'm 4 states away. What like? And I mean, there's been bruises on my son. His shirt's been tore like around the collar, like somebody grabbed him like this, like trying to not jack him up, but like by his collar, and he's had holes. I mean, this, and on these visits, there's one that I believe I posted on my YouTube channel or the podcast channel, but you can see him, and he kept looking past the tablet, right? And all of a sudden, he would tell someone that walked in the room, "Leave me the hell alone." My son would, and you could just see the whole visit. He's in fear, like he's having to look over his shoulder, and he follows somebody behind the tablet screen, like, and it's like somebody was trying to intimidate him, and just like, and you know what? I hate to say it, but it was a staff employee there, a supervisor
yeah,
at that.
they do
That
that.
was
They do that. They actually like antagonize them to make them act out. And then when they act out, they actually write it up as something else. But
yeah.
it's a control thing that they do.
They tried to make my son on his evaluation meetings. It was like where they were working on objectives. Well, because they were supposed to involve me, and every month I would ask for this link, and Cherokee County would be like, "Oh, well, we're gonna send it." I got all these messages. "Oh, we're sending it to you right now," and I would never get a link. I would never get nothing to be on with my son. I mean, to find out what I mean, and my son would be the one to tell me what's going on, and then the ones that did let me know, because they knew it was messed up. I mean, I've had people, and my aunt could even tell you, I've had people during this whole 2 years that he was going, they're like, "That's
What's
not
up,
right."
Daniel?
I mean, everything. Let me ask this: with my that's my son right there. Yeah. What's up?
I was
Is that
gonna
the video?
play the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna play it.
Oh,
So
I
you can
can't
play
see
one.
it.
You can play it.
How come y'all can see it and I can't?
No, it just
I heard
started
it. I
playing.
didn't.
It was
Oh,
autoplay.
you just started it. Okay, I was like, how come she can see it? I can't?
But
You know that
there's
voice.
one, and then there was a visit where a guy crawled out from underneath a table, and this was a staff member, but yet tells me he's working on a electrical outlet underneath the table, but he had no tools in his hand.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I've got and my son, when we got him home finally, he was withdrawing. He had, because and they did it purposely. Like, the psych meds. That's how over medicated they had my son. My son got put in. He lashed out, and I knew something was going on. All his labs were off when he got home, and we took him in, and they could not. I mean, the hospital was like, wow. And he was in observation, but and they since when he was in observation, that's when DFCS involved themselves again and took me off everything. And my aunt she ain't putting up with their stuff. Like, my son come back as an independent adult as well, and they still trying to involve themselves, and we ain't. But they my son's labs were off, and he was having withdrawals from these psych meds, and he was defecating on himself. That's not how. And my son, even his facial features had changed. Like, he looked.
Yeah,
They were,
so it bloats your face to where you don't look like yourself.
no, he looked like something from. I don't want to be so harsh, but he looked like that guy, that thing from Tales from the Crypt. His face was sunken. He looked like a zombie. He was dehydrated horribly. He was pale, and he would be repetitive. He did a show with me when he got home. Like, we had a welcoming home, like at the airport and everything when he came, because my aunt flew back with him, because I had to fly back early to get the vehicle and everything, and because that was her first time flying, so she was nervous. My poor aunt, bless her heart, she's a little firecracker, but she went through a lot with these people. Like, they tried to do. I could say she's a tough cookie, man, because they tried with her and she wasn't taking it. And I even got her on recording with them where they admit and apologize that they did not reach out to them when they found out, when they got my son, but yet they said they did. No, they didn't. Like, when that order said no reasonable efforts, they had to go back, and then the NUNC protunked it back to dates that I wasn't even around then. Like, I wasn't even appeared for. They backdated those court orders to cover their butts, pretty much, and they're not supposed to do that. Like, it's all the whole case is fraud. But it also affected my girls, because now I have 2 daughters, and my oldest has spoken out recently on TikTok, saying she was bringing awareness, and I'll go ahead and say it, I'm not afraid, to horrible parents. Well, think about it. My daughter, but she said, and the last thing she said, and I could feel it right then, and I'm waiting on, she said, "Why did you sign us over? Why did you give up your rights to us, Mom?" And I could feel the pain. I could feel it, because I didn't do that. I never did. I wouldn't. I mean, and this is how brainwashed my girls, my poor girls, and my mom never did that to my son. Never. I was always involved in my son's life, but for my daughter to say that, it hurt. I mean, she thinks I just gave up. No, I didn't. When you talk about somebody from the sideline that had to be, like, I was even at her graduation, and I wouldn't. They took my rights, and I was there. You darn right I was. I was the loudest one in the crowd. I didn't care if I would get in trouble or not. I wasn't gonna miss that. I mean, I've been their biggest cheerleader from the sidelines, and that's how much. And my girls, my girls. I mean, my son didn't even get to see them the 2 years he was out at Devereaux. And that's all. He was supposed to graduate with my daughter this past May, and with him being out at Devereaux, he didn't get to graduate. My son should be a senior.
Did they have him in school? Have him in school?
They had him in that, I call it the kangaroo school out there.
Is it the Devereaux school, the school that's in the facility?
Yeah.
Gina, I don't know if you want to go ahead and show that video, but
that's not school.
It's not. And then I would like for it to pull up Devereaux after that.
Oh yeah, this video, my son. Yeah,
What's up, Albert? How you been, baby? Oops, let me see. There you are. Wait a minute. Can you see? Hey, you.
But he can't even focus on his.
There's my boy. I missed you.
Yeah, he's nervous, afraid.
Are you okay?
Yes, Danielle.
So you have a good day?
Yes, Danielle.
I know you like my hair. See, it looks goofy, don't it?
Yes, Danielle. Yes, Danielle.
I love you.
Let me too,
He was
Danielle.
nervous.
So
he was
what have you been
scared.
doing this week, babe?
Nothing, Danielle.
You haven't been doing nothing? Oh,
Mhm.
I love you, Bubba.
Let me too, Danielle.
So what have you been doing? Look at my hair. It's silly.
Yes, Danielle.
So what
He
are
was
you
trying. He tried
what have
his
you
best
been
to be
doing
able
in
to
school, Bubba?
visit with me.
Alex. Albert. What,
Yes,
what have you
Danielle.
been doing in school, baby?
Nothing, Danielle.
That's my Bubba. That's my Bubba. I love you. So, did you go outside today?
Yes, Danielle.
Did you have fun?
Yes, Danielle.
You know what? You're so handsome. Hey, I see you. You're so handsome.
Yes, Danielle.
I know. Were you just chilling in your room,
Yes, Danielle.
Albert?
Yes,
Were you
Danielle.
just chilling in your room?
Yes, Danielle.
I love you, Bubba.
No, Danielle.
Did you already take your medicine?
No,
Do
Danielle.
you already have snack?
No, Danielle.
Oh. Do you want me to let you go?
Yes, Danielle.
Well, do you want me to visit tomorrow?
Is it tomorrow, Danielle?
Okay. You want to visit tomorrow?
Yes, Danielle.
All right. I love you. Hey, give me kisses, Bubba. You gonna catch them, Bubba?
Yes, Danielle.
Catch them. I love you.
Yes, Danielle.
But I'll.
Love you too, Danielle.
Okay. Well, I'll visit you tomorrow. I'll call tomorrow. Okay. And since you want to go,
Okay,
okay.
Danielle.
I love you.
Love you too, Danielle.
Are you gonna tell me bye, Albert?
Yes,
What do you
Danielle.
want to do, baby? Do you want to stay visiting or what?
Yes,
He didn't want to
Danielle.
get off.
Okay. I was
He
just
wanted to,
wondering.
but he.
First, you tell me you want to go. And
Is
then
there
you wanna tell
someone
me you wanna
talking in the
stay.
background?
Which one you want to do?
Yes, they were that loud.
Go, Danielle.
Yes,
You want to go?
and watch him. He locks
Yes,
on
Danielle.
Okay,
someone
well,
that's
look,
coming
tell
in.
me- You want me to
Here in
call
a minute.
tomorrow?
He's nervous. My
Yes,
son don't
Danielle.
do
Okay, well, tell
these
me
things.
night.
He's about to be locked in on someone, and you'll see him, and he'll follow. He ducks down and he starts, and he gets nervous. It's.
Wait, I love you.
No,
Hey,
There he goes.
yeah, well.
Albert, why are you saying
Yes,
that? Why are you
Danielle.
saying that again? What's wrong?
Nothing, Danielle.
Who are you telling that? Who are
Watch
you
him.
telling that
Watch
to?
him. See him?
Bye-bye,
See him?
Danielle.
Okay, because that's.
He wouldn't tell me who.
You okay? I love you.
Yes,
I
Danielle.
love
Love you too,
you.
Danielle. To Danielle.
Okay, well look, you can hang up and go if you want to. I love you.
Yeah, Danielle. Love you too, Danielle.
I mean, if you don't want to go, you can talk too.
He got nervous. He was nervous and he stemmed really. My son never rocks like that. And if you noticed when he kept whoever walked in was saying, "Leave me the hell alone," and he followed him. And then he felt, he was always. And there was I had several visits that he was like that, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And he would just go, and you could tell when he would get nervous. And it based down to two people, because there's a visit that I have recorded that because they were supposed to have him visit in a room by himself, right? So that because they eventually started putting him in his room to visit with me. Well, there's a visit where all the staff members are like around the other kids and all, but there's two people that get around my son, and that's when my son does the same kind of signs like he did right there. And that's there's a man and a woman in that video. The one, but he was scared, and there's a lot of visits like that one, and I brought it to their attention, and that's when the phone calls and visits got to be to where they would not answer for me at all. So I would steadily just, I mean, they knew they knew me down there very, very well, because I wasn't taking. I said, you know what? He's 4 states away, and I can't get. I said, I'll be darned. I said, y'all are gonna. I'd call every unit down there. I didn't care. I was going
Yeah,
to
it's
talk every
definitely
day.
it's definitely not a place for an autistic child at all. Like, I don't even know why they chose to put him there.
to get him, well, because of the they said, and this is the aunt that did started all this told them that he was very behavioral and acts out and lashes out and hits people, which is a complete lie. My son is the sweetest, most calmest. I mean, he's sweet. He minds his own. Like some of the people out there at Devereaux said he's their piece away from home. I said, okay, like I mean, because there was some he got close to out there, and there's one on my Facebook right now that he still asked about my son, and he quit working for them, and that's when he accepted the friend request from me, which is pretty cool. And he said your son was just awesome. He said, and when I would ask certain things, that you can tell that something was going on with certain people there. And I
Yeah.
said it's yeah, and I can, and my son is starting to speak out. So Devereaux, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, I worked in a group home that was not a lockdown facility, and it was and I've heard stories from other kids that went from Devereaux to Elts, back and forth. And because that's what they do is they put them back and forth. And it's usually behavioral. They say it's behavioral and DJJ and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
it's,
but
it's really,
they
it's
and
not a good
they
place.
got one here in Georgia, right in Kennesaw, and I'm
Mhm.
literally like all straight down the road. But I was always wondering why my son was there. Like why a behavioral place like that? And it's because even the guardian ad litem made this comment to my aunt and said, I don't understand why they said he was such a behavioral child. He's far from that. And that's what they told my aunt when they went out and did the home assessment on her house. That's what the guardian ad litem told her. And I'm like, then why did y'all, I mean, why was he sent out there? Because that place made him worse.
It will make you worse because there's no love, no nurture, no, like they're locked in their room like a prison.
Yeah. And also they would lock the bathrooms. The kids had to
They
ask.
ask.
So my son is not used to that, right? And I hate even thinking of it, but he had an accident one time, and because he really had to go. Well, of course they're gonna take their time. They don't care. They're gonna instigate these kids. They're gonna do whatever they want. They're gonna do to let them act out and lash out, to where I believe they were having the kids tag team up on each other and like get them to fight, because there was a riot out there in 2021 that the kids and a lot of kids got arrested, and the kids broke out of that place. I met a woman that got sent from Georgia to the same facility in 1986. Yep, via the state of Georgia, just recently. She said, Danielle, that place is not. She said, and my goal is, what I want to do is shut these places down. The places like that, these kids don't need to be isolated. That's
That's
why I
my
wrote
goal.
that song.
They're kid prisons. They're legit kid prisons.
They are. I said my son is living. That's the reason why I asked my family for help, was because I never wanted my kids to be or ever go to prison, nothing, because I know what prison's like. I've been there, and I could never see, and I'll be darned if my son was living it.
So just to be clear, is Devereaux a private owned facility, and then the state?
It's a nonprofit. It's a 501.
Yeah, it is a nonprofit.
Yeah.
It's a contracted facility.
Yeah.
And you can scroll down. I don't know but Gina, it'll tell you. This is where I got my training from, was Devereaux.
This is the one that had the lawsuit for the sexual lawsuit for that 15-year-old girl. I thought back in 20, I forgot what year that was. But yeah, they've had a bunch of complaints against them. I even had an attorney contact me when my son was out there, and he never, he's like, well, I need all your son's information, and I guess they were going after Devereaux, and I'm like, I'm not giving out, but because I said, well, he must see something that I'm not, because I was new to all this, I didn't know what, and then finally, when I started doing my research, that's when I discovered a lot. I mean, I even looked into the employees there and everything. And they at the very end, right when we were getting ready to get my son home, they had no idea we were coming. They said, Miss Wah, I can't confirm or deny until you're on a video call with us, because that's when they were going to start recording me. Sorry, guys, I'm y'all 2 years too late, buddies. Like, nope. They stopped doing anything with me because they knew then, Texas knew then something was up. Because go ahead.
This is the $1 million question, and this is actually rhetorical because I know the answer. Why is there no oversight over a facility like this when they're housing all these kids with disabilities? How is there no government regulation? People coming in at least once, twice a month, or just unexpected visits to see what's going on in a facility.
But they are, Gino. They actually have a state. They actually have a state representative, a person from the state that comes in, looks at the books and stuff. This is how it works, though. Okay, first of all, they come in and they look at the books, but they have no way of confirming the books. So literally, what is in the books? Yes. Like, so the workers are told what to put in the books, okay? And then the incident reports are sent to RBWO, which is over them. But whenever I wrote up an incident report, I would write it as it happened, and it was rewritten by a supervisor and then sent so that there was not an investigation. So they reword everything, and nothing happened. That's what I'm telling y'all.
Yeah, but they're looking at files. Why not look at video? Is there any video surveillance?
There's no camera.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
They tried to tell me that they had, because I have a video recording of me visiting with my son, and it literally looks like somebody is sitting there on a bench or something with him, and my son is eating, but I can't tell, but it looks like somebody fondling my son. And I don't know who or what, but, and I called about it, and they said, oh, well, no, our cameras show. I said, but wait a minute. I said, but it's no documentation of this or nothing for Georgia. Like even when he got jumped, there was nothing. And he even had an allergic reaction one time, and he was like swollen bad. And my son, I'm like, what did they give him? Because my son is not allergic. Some type of fish, they said, but I'm like, and there was no documentation, no record of this at all. And Georgia wanted to play, because they're supposed to go see him I forgot how often it was. They never once went out there in 2 years, not once. I even one of the girls that's on the unit that answered the phone, I said, I really want to know in the call log who's called about my son. And they told me, I mean, they went all the way back, and I got that recorded too. They never called, nothing.
So he didn't even have a worker out in Texas. So they didn't.
No.
They didn't transfer it to Texas.
It was Georgia, but nobody could tell me who was over it, because nobody wanted to claim when the abuse and all this stuff happened. But Georgia would be rightfully the one held responsible, because Georgia's the one that sent him out there, and right. Texas was not getting, like but they were wrong in accepting the request anyways. They should have never took my son. But there wasn't even no ICPC request. And my son still was 6 months away but yet they can get him out there, but I still don't even know how he got out there.
Oh, wow. Okay. So just so Gino, just so you know, they have to do the ICPC in order to transfer him state to state. So you're saying there was not even an ICPC. So that's, is that the hidden foster care?
So that's the first thing in the chain of command for him to be taken to another state. And that was never written up. No evidence of that. Nowhere to be found.
Nothing. Nowhere. All it is, I mean, I still have not got it to this day. But that they ordered him that he was, when there was, I mean, even my family was going, they went through the whole, because what I've read online with ICPC is that they have to do a home assessment and all this. Nothing that was on that site or anything that they were supposed to go by to approve these family members, or even for the state of Georgia, nothing was done. But all they were doing was, but they did make, because my family, they should have never had to, but they did the drug test. They did the but it was all a 6 month, I believe. I think a request only is last 6 months when they put it in for ICPC. It's 2 years or a year and a half for my family members.
So the ICPC, is that supposed to be written up by like a supervisor at DFAX? Is that someone, I'm guessing someone up the chain, right?
Yeah, the caseworker can do it. I've had caseworkers do the ICPC. So it's a form they fill out and they get it approved. I mean, so if they're watching this show, I'm sure they're probably creating one that dates back to.
Oh yeah, they'll have, that's where
no, right. They don't even Photoshop. They'll just write it on in there.
Yeah.
That's
and they know
post-it note or something.
Right. But see, that's where they really messed up, and all this stuff that the paperwork, like they had to, that paper, the documents I sent y'all, those were fresh signatures, everything. I still got ones from when the case, like when I first got them from the courthouse. Like, hello, why are y'all, they don't even keep if they're going to lie about something, at least cross your T's and dot your I's. No, it's petty little things that get, and that's what's causing so much trauma to these families, and it's wrong. Like, all they have to do, the system was built to protect and strengthen families and help them when they're struggling, not to hurt them and separate them. It should never have been a business. It should never be a business, and that's what it's become.
Literally.
Nancy Shaver said it's a criminal political phenomenon. That's what she did.
Yes. Nancy Schaefer said a lot of good things, that's for sure.
Yes. Yes.
JJ Medical Kidnapping over in Foxville said there are cameras and even audio recordings. So that's good to know. Maybe those could be FOIA'd. They force some of these disabled children to sign themselves into voluntary foster care.
Oh yes, they do. They do have them sign something. And I think I was telling you, Danielle, this, that when the kids come in, we would go over like a packet with them and they would sign. And I had a 9-year-old that said, I am not signing that. And I literally had to put refuse to sign. But in the chat is that, who did you say that was, JJ? Okay, ask him if he's worked in a facility. I would like to know. I didn't work at Devereaux. I worked at Elsaidmore. We did not have cameras. We were not a lockdown facility. We were not allowed to put our hands on the children. Devereaux, you can put your hands on the children. They should have cameras in there. I'm not sure if they do.
Do they even have them recording? Because half the time, if the internet wouldn't be working out there at Devereaux because they didn't want us visiting with the
convenient.
kids. And I would call out there, and sometimes because I have a lot of recordings. So if they want audio of the inside the facility, you can hear. Y'all heard the one visit right there of them talking. I have plenty of. I mean, because that's how careless they were on these visits, and I guess they thought I was a mom that's just gonna. Because I guess the kids that were out there, their families weren't really. I don't know, because there's even kids that would come on the visit with my son. And they loved it when I called and everything. And and my son would always say, I'm going to bring them home in my pocket we got to get these kids out of here, Mom. We got to get them out. They don't belong here. So my son, he knew what's up. And he was really close to this nonverbal young man named Luke in Talon. And all of a sudden they're gone. Like what? Because they would always take my son on van rides every week. But it was only certain kids, and I don't like that idea. Like, it's always every week, and my son would always go on these van rides. But yet, when he got back, he was different. He was very different. And I mean, I've got where when you call and the unit's really quiet. Well, where are the kids? Like, it should be loud right now. Like, hello. Why is it so quiet? Oh, because they probably over medicated them and made them go to sleep early. Because I got them to wake my son up one night, and it was like not even 7 o'clock, and they're an hour behind us. I said, I want to see, and he looked like he was like in a deep coma, pretty much. Because my son is very hyper. Like, him going to sleep is like, yeah. I mean, he's walked 86,000 steps in the house on his Fitbit. So, I mean, the boy walks. He will wear the floor out, you know? my son is a walker, and he's always on the go. So for him to be looking like that and that tired, I'm like, but for the unit to be quiet, not a peep, they would over medicate him so they didn't have to deal with him. Oh, they went to bed early. I'm like, that ain't. I mean, and that happened a good bit. And they definitely were over medicating these kids, because when my son got home and what he went through, even with his labs, it was just horrible. Like, even his urine was orange, like a reddish orangish color, and he constantly was wanting to drink fluids constantly and eat. My son, he's a bottomless pit anyways. He's an eater. His metabolism is just like, but the eating, like, it's like he's starved out there. And I know, and that's what led, like, a lot of his when he got upset out there, was because he was hungry. So they're not even feeding the kids like they should. Kids are growing. I mean, he's a boy. He's going into his adulthood. His hormones. I mean, come on.
Well, the thing is too, is it's not like you're at home. You know how if you're at home, you can just walk in there and get something out of the fridge anytime you want.
Yeah.
In those places, you get your set time meals. That's
like
it.
Prison.
Yeah, it's a prison setup, and that's what they become normal to, right? So then it's foster care to prison. It's a pipeline.
Yeah. And when I would speak to people, and even when I would, like, when I visited him, I would get off the phone and I'd be like, he's in prison, y'all. I said, it's just like a prison. It's just our foster care system. This is supposed to be his sanctuary, a sanctuary for these kids, America's most vulnerable children, and they're been being treated like a prisoner, sometimes even worse. I said, I mean, I can only imagine the things that go on with these kids. I don't even like to, because I've been to prison. I know what goes on. I mean, the chair they strap you in. Oh my goodness. I know they did it to my son, but what have these kids done so wrong to be disciplined like that? No.
I think it's miserable people. It's a lot of miserable people in positions, and miserable people love those types of positions.
They would pick on my son. Like, there was a couple of them there that picked on my son, and they were supervisors. That's how.
They're usually the most miserable.
Tyrone, like, ugh. I mean, he even made fun of my son one night and held up the hair clippers, and said he's fixing to go shave my son's rear end. Like, why would you say that to me?
Did you file complaints on him?
I did. They never did nothing about it, and I'm not done. Ooh. Oh, my son just got home in March. It's home. Oh yeah, it's.
Gino, I put an article in the chat.
Because my daughter, they tried to, with my kids, my girls, these guardianship orders were in place, and they should have never, like, my son has experienced abuse that's out there. And I mean, like, even Paris Hilton has stepped up and said, when she went to the Senate Finance Committee, or the Ways and Means, were up there in Washington, and she got that bill passed or whatnot. But my thing is they know what's going on, and it's all, but they're because back earlier, that's what it was with the Devereaux thing, and what you were saying about did you know that in Georgia there was even a judge down in Atlanta that's the Honorable Judge Devereaux. His last name is Devereaux, and there's also someone that's with the I forgot, I got the paperwork or the magazine, but it was something to do for lawyers, like with the bar, that's their last name is Devereaux, and it's a father son, and they're associated with Devereaux. I thought that was, and it was a question he had asked earlier, Gino.
So it's a it's a pipeline.
Yeah, and I thought, and that really irked my nerves when I found, like, but now I don't even know where that judge is at. He was in Atlanta. He was like a traffic one of the little ones, but still,
transportation, like traffic ticket trafficking.
Yeah, like at state court maybe, or magistrate, something like that. It was one of the lower courts, but still,
I just found it.
That last name just.
Yeah, I was wondering where Devereaux came from. So thank you.
And then he's also got his son or his nephew something is the CEO of something with that has, I think it's with lawyers or something, because I started looking into the guardian ad litem that was over my son's case. And he's from Texas. He got his license in Texas, divorced in Texas, and he's a criminal attorney here in Marietta, Georgia. And he's done a lot of cases up there in Cherokee County. He was over a lot of cases. He was the sometimes the parents' lawyers out there in Cherokee County or the guardian ad litem. Yeah. And
I was wondering where that name came from. See, this is what I love about the Mama Bears, because y'all do all the research for me. And
my mom would be rolling over in her. My mom would not go for this right now. My mom would be freaking out. Like, she would go off about what happened with my son. Like, whoa, my papa, and like they would not agree with none of it. And my mom would definitely be one. I mean, I am my mom made all over again. Like, on her obituary, it said she was the neighborhood mom, she was this cool mom, but she was also the private investigator. Because look, when I was growing up, it was 20 questions. Like, if a guy wanted to, like, she was the protective mom, and yeah, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I wouldn't. So I am my mom, so because that's my son and my kids, and I'm gonna, and yeah, it's sad to say that family is so the greed, and I couldn't tell you why this happened, because my mom and just to think, what was my mom really going through this that she kept from me, from her own brother, her own sister, making her like, I mean, and it all boils down to money, man.
yeah,
It's all about money.
it's really sad.
They never received a dime the whole time they had my son, the guardianship or nothing. But then all of a sudden now, that when my mom passes away, this aunt's receiving money. Like, wait a minute, is that really what it was about this whole time? Like, and yeah, that's what's happened recently. Like, they had over a decade goes by, and my family never, like, the guardians never received a dime. But now, all of a sudden, it's like I was telling Sylvia earlier about my child support. It went from non-TANF to now it's support 4D or 4E or something.
Yeah.
4E.
Yeah, the title 4E is
from
Social Security.
Yeah.
It's all funneled down. We've said this a million times. That's the head of the snake. It's money. It's billions of dollars every year to all 50 states. It's an incentivization for these places to take children from loving families and put them in care, so-called care, and then especially disabled children. Whole bunch of money
with my son. They saw a kid supposedly without a caregiver, and they seen dollar signs right off the rip with my son. I wanted the O word, orphan, because my family member had told him that I was nowhere to be found, which I'm right here. Like, I don't understand her, why she would ever say that. But and like, you're right, it boils down to money. That's what it is. It's greed and money. And it's sad that that children have a price over their head. And it wasn't like that when I was growing up. No. We just were put outside and told to come home when the streetlights come on, like, it was safe. You would never, I never heard my grandparents or anything talk about anything like what's going on now. Never. And even and back, like, I was the adoption. My aunt, I have an aunt that my grandparents, my nanny and papa, it was my mom's oldest sister's daughter, which is, she would really be I call her my aunt, but she would really be, I guess, my cousin or my niece or whatnot. I'm not my niece, my cousin. But there's no adoption paperwork nowhere. But that's how it just went with the flow. I mean, there's no adoption papers nowhere.
This all started with the American Safe Families Act. That's when it started. That's when the incentivization started. The Clintons were involved. We all know the story. This is when it started. Yeah, that's right, exactly. So JJ in the chat sent this. Deach and Rogers obtained $60 million verdict in Devereaux sexual assault case.
Is that for
Peach and
Georgia?
Rogers sexual assault lawyers Andrew Rogers and Kara Phillips obtained a $60 million jury verdict on behalf of a 15-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted at Devereaux Advanced Behavioral Health. The jury also
In Georgia.
awarded attorney fees and expenses that result from Devereaux's bad faith in the litigation, in an amount to be determined by the court at a later date. The victim was admitted for treatment at Devereaux, a behavioral health facility located in Kennesaw, Cobb County, Georgia.
Yep.
While at the facility, she was sexually assaulted by 40-year-old
Cobb County.
Devereaux employee Jimmy Singletary.
And that's when my son when he came, they started saying my son was more like how can I say it? My son's never like just put it this way, every night at 8:00 he's got to go to his room and do, and how can I say it? He's never been open to anything sexual growing up or anything. And when he got sent out there, all of a sudden now he's like really
active.
Yes.
He's got
yes.
needs.
And
That's sexually abuse.
And something's happened 100%. To him out there. Yes. And it just makes me sick. But yes,
they're bastards. These people are bastards. They're bastards. Yeah. They're sick. These are sick people. Preying on the most vulnerable among us, like children with disabilities. You're sick. Get help.
And they tried to say my son was like some sexual like try to make it seem like he would like a predator type. But they got rid of that objective because I'm like, you're kidding me, right? But that makes you wonder, what were they really doing to him and that other person, like they even made the comments that they crossed out in this IEP, or not IEP, in its evaluation, that they're like, well, we discontinued that objective about him like being sexually active with someone else at the facility. Like, wait, what? Would that right there throws up a red, like, what? Why are y'all getting whoa? And all of a sudden it's,
Danielle, this thought just crossed my mind. You said you were watching that, you were doing a Zoom call with them or a FaceTime, whatever. And you said someone was on a bench and it looked like something was going on. Now these perverts, they get off on that stuff, knowing that he's on the phone with his mom and they can get away with it right there in a facility that's supposed to be taking care of them. That's how sick they are.
And it's always been in the back of my mind. It makes me sick thinking about it. And I just, that was the big, like with my son being out there, I knew something, but he didn't, he even said one time, there's stuff I got to tell you when I get home. But when I tell you my son he's a trooper. He is, man. He was a lot stronger than I was. The things because he's never had to go through anything like that. Never been to a place like that. Never even been away from family. And to be sent 4 states away, not knowing what area you're in, nothing. He's never even been to Texas. He's never even been out of the state of Georgia, except, well, he did go to Florida with me, but if he ran away from there, where would he go? Because they were out there by
that's actually part of the plan. Like, that was a lot of the kids, they send them to facilities way off so that they don't know where that they are. So that when they do run, they don't know where to go.
Even in Cherokee County, the sheriff's department, they would go out. My son would wear a bracelet. It was Operation, and him and my mom were the ones that did the video for the sheriff's department with the sheriff, with Miss Murphy, to introduce the Kid Safe Hope. And what it is trackers on the kids that run away, like autistic kids and stuff. And they would have to come out every month and change the battery. But it's kind of like when I had an ankle monitor on, that's what it was. And it would track my son because he did run away at certain things. He had a trigger. Yeah. And he said he just felt like doing it. He just wanted to go throw a tire in the river or something. I don't even know. It was when his electronics made him mad. He'd go throw it in the storm drain at the house next door. That's his, he'd throw it, and for some reason he loved throwing his tablet and his electronics in the storm water thing. And because when they cleaned it out, they found like 5 5-gallon buckets full of electronics. It still even worked. And my mom was like, you know what? Y'all can keep them. Like, that's how much my son, I don't even, it would make him mad. And he would just go throw it away. He'd go get another one. Okay. I'm glad he could do it. Like,
Yeah.
so, but he had a water tower thing. Like, he wanted to climb a water tower. And I'm like, that's all I need to be on the 5 o'clock news and my son climbing a water. Like, oh my gosh, that would be my luck, Jeez, with that boy. Like, oh my god, and he stopped. He don't run away no more because my nanny. The last time he did, because when people talk about, like, if they talk about my mom or my nanny, that because since they're passed, and he thinks that they're still around, like, because if we're having just a casual conversation and we say, well, Marie or nanny, and then that's what he did. He ran away looking for my nanny after she had passed, and that was the last time he did, because something out there scared him, and that's when his locator would not locate him, and he was missing. And when they put up that white tent, that's when you start. I mean, all the counties were in, and I'm like, man, this is not what my mom did not want to call me and tell me that my son was missing. Like, and when we found him, he said, I ain't got to run away no more. Nanny's with me. She's with me right here. And she told me to listen to Big Daddy Weave. I know. And that's her way. So my son believes, he believes in the Lord, and he loves Christian music. And he said him and the nanny and Jesus are with him every day. And you know what they said out at Devereaux and DFAX? They said he's hearing voices. I'm sorry that they're wrong for that. They
Yeah,
try
because
to make it out to be.
there's a lot of demons running around that place. So a couple things over here in the chat. JJ said there was a judge who was masturbating during a hearing after a child left the witness stand. The next witness called to the stand saw it. And Angel Wing 76 says,
I actually did hear about that judge in the court.
Sorry, Tracy Blades. That was.
Hi,
Kara
Tracy.
Davis. Kara. Oh, Angel Wings. Okay, gotcha. It's Tracy. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Sorry. Kara Davis 59 said, I'm mind blown at all the things that have happened. This is insane. In the comments, God bless you all. I'm really sorry you all went through this. She's also a victim of CPS, DHS. Yeah. That's why I'm here to fight this justice. That's Angel Wings. Yes. Good to see you, Tracy. And sorry to hear that, Kara. Yeah. Well, Kara, what you can do to help, we are trying to spread awareness on this subject. We've been talking about it for about 4 years now. We've created a catalog here with parents and children that have been through this disgusting system that's supposed to be protecting, at least among us, which is doing that. It's trafficking children and separating them from loving families. So if you could share this out, that would help tremendously on all your platforms, wherever you're at. X. If you guys are, well, I don't think we're live on X tonight, unfortunately. I think we got John the information too late. But I was having tonight. Oh gosh, if my phone is just like doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I dropped it, and it's so everything got messed up today. I wasn't getting text, then I was getting text, then it was jumping to somebody else's text, and my phone was calling people. It was just crazy. Anyway, so
that's what mine keeps doing, crazy stuff.
Yeah, mine. I would love to blame it on the deep state, but mine was actually I just dropped it in the garage, so that's what caused the problem. But I have had weird stuff happen in the past with my phone. So, and thank you, Kara. I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate you. So, my gosh, Danielle, this is just, it's so sad because it's heartbreaking. This never had to happen. I want to go back to the beginning of the story for a second here, just in case people are joining us late. Your son could have easily stayed with somebody in the family. He did not have to be shipped off out of state to a facility. He had loving people around him that would have taken care of him. And then his mom comes home and nope, they say, no, you're not fit. You're not fit to be a mother. Now, this is the I think most people would think. They're like, well, she was incarcerated. She was in prison. Yes, but she wasn't in prison for neglect or child abuse. It was other things, substance abuse issues, and you were taking care of that. You got it all taken care of. And here's the thing.
Yes. I even did a program.
Well, I want to know what parent among us is perfect. That's what I want to know. I haven't found a perfect parent yet.
No. Me neither. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not perfect. I'm a long ways from being
And
perfect.
since when
But
did the standard have to be perfect? You have to, or have to be
right,
perfection to be a mom or a dad?
right.
There's no such
That's right.
thing.
Because right. Life
Doesn't
don't come
exist.
with an instruction manual. Right. Parenting don't come with an instruction manual. And being, we don't get an instruction manual. It, but for them to come in and think that they know me and know my son and just do the things that they done after a decade goes by, and he was with my son's story is my son's been with my nanny since birth. Okay. That was her. I called him her. I mean, and there was no paperwork or done back at that, because he was born in '05. What happened was with that is she held a promise to my pawpaw, which was my best friend. I was his princess. Like, look, I got away with everything. Like, and yeah, I was Pawpaw's princess. And my Pawpaw, the day after Mother's Day, looked at my nanny and said, "Mom, I can't hang on no more. Please take care of that little boy." And from that day forward, and when my son was born 2 months later, my nanny fulfilled that, and she did. And in 2018, she passed away on November 3rd. And my so for my son to be done the way he was done, with DFCS never being in our life, never for abuse, never for nothing, and to come in 2022 and just totally destroy it is absolutely. I mean, I'm still trying to get up. I mean, it's affected me, my brother. My brother don't understand why. I mean, he would have to see my son over a video, and he's like, and my son, you ought to see his face would just light up, Uncle Jay, and they're both disabled, so, and they're both kind of the same, they can never be alone, but my brother, he and for him, and he would be like, why is he there, when's he coming home, and and he didn't understand. But my brother knows the real story, like back in 2011, and what was in place this whole time to what happened in 2022. My brother still to this day will tell you it's a bunch of bull. It's all, it's wrong. It was wrong because he should have never been in the system's hands. Never. They had no reason for involvement. Nothing at all. I've never been accused of abuse or neglect. Nothing. And
They just
for
saw
them
an
to
easy.
go back,
They saw an easy target. It was a soft target, and they took advantage of it and knew that they had the judicial system on their side. It's sick. It's sick.
yeah. And my aunt, the aunt that has had my daughter, which my daughter will be 18 in a couple of days, thank goodness. And she will she didn't want me, I can tell you right now, she didn't want me having anything to do with my daughters, period. So that's what they did this with the intention of taking my parental rights from my girls, because my mom was gone, so let's get Danielle out of the picture all together. That's what it was. I don't know why, but my mom protected me, really, all this, in a way. Now that I really sit down and think about it, because the way that they've done it hurt all three of my kids, not just my son, my daughters, because my oldest daughter, she spoke out, and she, that was her way of, and I let her speak out. But you know what, who was also over her shoulder was my aunt, telling her things, and the corrupt aunt, the bad aunt. Why I mean, and she's always looking on my TikTok and everything. Why would you, what did I do? I mean, I'll never get answers, but I never did sign my rights over. Never. My rights were still intact this whole time.
That's the other sick thing that maybe people that are just tuning in have never heard, is that one allegation from somebody you might never know, a mysterious phone call comes in. Next thing you know, they're knocking at your door.
Yep. Yeah, and that's anonymous. I'm so proud. I'm glad Texas and New York, you can't be anonymous anymore.
Oh yeah, when did that happen?
Texas did it, thought a year or two ago, but New York was just recently. But that's the only two states so far.
Oh,
You will
that's
not be
good.
anonymous in New York. Yeah, I could have sworn I heard New York was on that side of it. Now there's only 2 states, and they're saying that every other state needs to jump on that bandwagon. You know, because that's what's. I mean, people can be mad at you and just make a call, like,
Mm-hmm.
and
It
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 defaults.
most of the time it is, but see,
Yes,
and the caseworkers actually love to say, "Oh, we can't tell you who it is," and like they kind of like love rubbing it in your face. Oh, we can't tell you. You know what I mean? But usually it's a ex husband, ex
yes,
boyfriend,
and
mother-in-law.
yeah, that's how most of these cases get started, is like that maybe they're going through divorce court and one of them gets mad at the other one, and they and then here comes the FCS or CPS. It's horrible. And I wrote a just recently I wrote the power of parental unity, and I wrote about the side of like the advocacy part and speaking out and stuff, and then I also went to the the co-parent part, and I put the and I'll have to send that to y'all and let y'all read it. I thought it was pretty cool. I wrote that, and it's the power of the parents, like, you know, unity. Well, why can't you have unity in the home, at the home front?
Well,
Because
I don't know if you're spiritual or not, but in the Bible it does say in the last days that, you know, the family would turn on the family, and that's really what we're seeing a lot of. It's
that's
really spiritual, and it's good versus evil, and it's really sad because a lot of this is caused by family members that, you know, like with your
it's
case and so many other
people that we thought
cases.
was close to us, people that I asked for help, that are my own family, that are my blood, that I asked for help, and back in 2011 when I got in trouble, and to keep my kids safe and protect my kids, and do something for them that I couldn't do at the time, you know, would turn into this. I never in my life. I mean, because I really thought that my family was very close, and because I'm telling you, if my papa, my nanny, or my mother was still here, this would not be going on. Trust that. Oh no. And even extended family that's on my mom's side, they even were surprised. They're like, well, when did she have any say over your son, Danielle? When did your dad listen to her? Like, that's how surprised everybody was about all this. Like, it was like a slap in the face. And then Alex has just gone away from his community, just gone. And people would, well, how's your dad and Alex doing? Huh? Like, I'm like, my dad and Alex, my dad has nothing to do with my son now. My dad was the father, the role model for my son for 17 years. To turn around and just the day my mom dies, just turn his back on all me, my brother, and my son. Like, he don't even know us. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe I'll never get my answers, but it's just my son is just, he don't know, because he loved my dad. He loved his papa, you know? And and I'll never understand. And this is family. The man, I mean, and yeah, it hurts. It hurts like hell, you know. My dad would be like this. My dad's the reason why I graduated high school, you know. And
Yeah.
my brother don't understand. Like, dad, why? What? They even told the funeral home that my mom only had one kid when I showed up, because my aunt was trying to get it to where I wasn't at the cremation, and I'll be darned, my dad made sure I was there. He did go behind and left me voicemails and told me what day it was and everything, because that's how bad this was, from the death, my mom dying, and then her cremation to the memorial. Even a caseworker was at my mom's memorial, but I wasn't there. The victim from my probation case and a caseworker from Cherokee County was there, and she's
Wow, I'm so
actually a
sorry.
supervisor for Pickens County. Yeah, she's very involved with some of these cases, and she is a bad one, bad, because I know in other people that you've talked to, she's been involved, and she thinks she's better than anybody, and that she can do what she wants. I can promise. Yeah,
Well,
that's her.
that, you know, that is kind of their thing. That's their they're so prideful and arrogant, and
Yes.
it's like they enjoy it, right? But you know what got Satan thrown out of heaven, right? It was his pride. It
His
was his
pride, yeah.
pride, and that's, you know, like keep on, keep on.
Yeah. They can only go so far with it, but and we ain't gonna. It's not gonna happen. And God don't like ugly. You know, you don't mess with his children. These are, and like Nancy Schaefer said, God's heart, his heart beats for these kids, and that's right. And she said, and Nancy Schaefer said a lot of true facts, and that's what she said. This system that was built to help families, and a place that a family can go to for help is now they're afraid and running away from it. And that's the way it was 10 years ago, a decade ago, before 2011, even before 2022, 2019. When if I needed help, I could go and get the help with food or whatnot with DFCS. Now, no, they tell me I'm illegal or whatever they got you now. I mean, they just come up with it's changed so much. And it's a system that is broken, that these families are trying to navigate through it because these caseworkers aren't telling them what to do. And when the caseworker is supposed to be like attached at their hips, like their best friend, their motivator, their encourager, their the one that's cheering you on, like they should be your biggest cheerleader, and they're not. And I had a caseworker in Virginia tell me herself she's afraid that a lot of these caseworkers are not telling these families what to do, and these families are trying to navigate through this system when they're fighting to get their kids back. And these caseworkers are failing these families all over. And she said, I mean, and she'll speak out. She was a big help through my whole case.
Oh,
She's
I would
a
like to talk. Yeah, you should
yeah.
connect me because
And how
any
hers was
workers.
ICPC. She's up in Virginia, and she was an ICPC, and that's what got me to write that song, because she said she wishes more people knew about the ICPC process, and I wrote that, and that's what I wrote that for, because I was just learning, and I'm like, there's no ICPC, and she helped me out a lot. She really did, and she still will talk to me, and she'll check in every now and then with me, and she still works with them, and there are good ones out there. It's just they're trying to wean them out of the system to get the good ones gone, to
Oh
where
yeah, girl. They
and
treat us like just like the parents. If you're good, they're gonna treat
oh
you
yeah,
bad. And
we do.
that's
Mhm.
exactly what they were doing to me. And I was getting really terrified. I was like, I gotta get out of here. Gino, I
Yeah,
did send you the song that Danielle wrote. It's in the Spotify. I was thinking we can close out with that. But you have a podcast, right? And
yeah, it's on you can find it on YouTube. It's on the channel. I got my own channel, but my podcast is under CPS Breaking News. It's called Unmasking Foster Care Corruption. I'm usually on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then I do random shows. But yeah, that was my channel, my page
What
right there. And you can
what
find
was
me on there as well.
what was the other
the one
one?
that
I'm
you
sorry.
just oh.
CPS Breaking News. You can find
Okay.
it on, yeah, and there's other podcasts on that channel as well, like Bringing Back Brenda.
Yeah.
She's another story and she's been in the game way longer than, and she has one heck, because they took her kids and they got her husband. That's poor
That's
Brenda.
awful.
She's probably watching right now, and that's Darren's right there, CPS Breaking News. And as a matter of fact, Brenda's probably, she might be on right now, I don't know, but there's a couple podcasts on this channel.
She's live. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's probably talking about us right now.
Oh, good. Well, hey,
Yeah,
Brenda.
yeah.
If she hears this, I
Darren,
don't know if she hears this.
and then you got the Punisher and Tiff, Tiff and the
Yep.
Punisher show, and then
Yep. If you don't know those guys, please go over and follow. I love Darren and Tiff and
oh yeah,
uh
Darren's good people. He's the
yes.
one that got me, and he's opened his floor to let me do my podcast. And you know, we Darren's really good people. He's really good. He's got a big heart.
And he does a lot of songs.
Oh.
The one thing that I've noticed is that everyone's pain, they're either turning it into songs or poems,
Yep.
or we got a lot of songwriters in the house. I know Tracy's one, Danielle, Darren. Darren wrote a whole list, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
still waiting because he even wrote one for me, and
Yeah.
I
Oh,
still hadn't received that one.
When I wrote the Free from Fears one, it started out at called Georgia's Hidden Scarlet Letter, because, and that's, I don't know if I sent you the base of why I chose that title, but when I was going to distribute my song out on through United Masters to the platforms, they said my title was too long, so I had to choose a shorter one. So I just took 3 words from the song and put it on there, and it worked out perfect. But yeah, the reason why I chose that title was because, like, with the Scarlet Letter theme of what is it, Nathaniel Hawthorne's, with the Scarlet Letter, think about the foster care system and the isolation and them trying to keep it hush hush. The stigma. It's kind of a lot, and foster care, when people, the average person hears a family going through this, they automatically are stereotypical and think,
Yep.
and they don't know the true facts. And that's why I chose Georgia's Hidden Scarlet Letter. But I ended up having to name it Free from Fears. So it was originally Georgia's Hidden Scarlet Letter. But yeah, and I wish it could have, but I mean, it started out as I could come up with so many things, but that one I had to get, because it hurt. My son was out there, and I feel isolated, and I'm shutting down, and I had to get, and these other kids. And when I seen this one that would come up every day to the video and just, hey, Miss Wah, and he called me Auntie Wah, Auntie Wah. That's what he's saying. I'm like, and
Those
now
kids
he's
are so lonely. They just want any attention, and um the
I
Devereaux
would,
is for behavioral, and
yeah,
they're just craving any type of
yeah.
attention and
Kind of
love.
love, just nurturing. That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
And I could tell, and it just, and Alex and my son be like, "Well, I'm gonna put him in my pocket and bring him home with me, Mom." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, they'll get the love, and they'll be welcome anytime." And I mean, and that's how I feel. I mean, I would, if I can get all of them, I would. And I don't care how bad they could be. I'll take all of them, because they don't deserve where they're at. They don't. They deserve a safe, stable home and love, a nurturing hug, the love that I mean, not a place that's going to just make them like robots and over medicate them and just make them be locked away from society. And that's what I couldn't stand about that place, is the fact that they were
Yes.
telling my son what to say. Like, they would sit there and supervise these visits, and tell and my son would always look at him and be like if he couldn't say this, and I'm like, are they standing behind the tablet, Alex? I said, tell him to go. I said, and my aunt, boy, she went off on him one day. She said, this is my visit, not y'all's. So this is my time, and made him leave. Like, oh yeah, she let him know. I have to visit with, this is my phone call. Like, y'all can just skedaddle. I mean, she didn't. Okay. I mean, I wish I was more like her, but I just didn't want them retaliating on my son. But she was new to all this. She didn't realize. And I told her, and that's when she caught on to there, and she was over it. But, and now she's a little firecracker, man. But he's in Georgia. He's safe, and he is happy as can be, and back to his normal self.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad that he's back. And Gina, I've
Yeah.
noticed the last few episodes that we had some good comeback
Good ending.
stories. Yes. So
yeah. They're
so
still trying. They're still trying, because I don't want them going after my youngest. She's still a minor.
well, yeah, they will always try, and that's the thing, is that I don't know, they just think they're untouchable, but
And my little
we're
girl,
gonna
my
change
youngest,
all that.
she'll give him a knuckle sandwich. Like, when she used to be little, I'll give you a knuckle sandwich. Little country bumpkin right there. Like, she, and my kids, they're 3 peas in a pod, and they're 3 total. Like, my girls are like night and day. Like, I'm like, I have a girly girl and then a tomboy, but they've, all 3 of my kids have ran track and field in school. All 3 of them. My youngest is then the top, I think, 7 in this whole state of Georgia. So go,
Wow.
girls. And then my oldest daughter just graduated, and she's going to be going to Oglethorpe University and studying biology with experimental research and minor psychology, with a minor in psychology. I think, yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
they got goals, and that's, I love it. I love it. So I mean,
that's
there's
good.
something good out of the homes they were in. You know, I wouldn't think that family would want to. You know, I'm glad that they are able to. I mean, have that. You know, and they were, hopefully, that the stuff that the family that they've shown me the hate, I hope they didn't do that to my children like they did to my son, like she did to my son. You know, my girls, I would say it's been different with them, and they are loved. But my son, my mom's gone, and my son just, I mean, it's like he was just, he's not trash. He's not a piece of trash. That's my boy. That's my baby. I mean, and
Every human has
I
worth.
mean that, yeah. Oh yeah,
given worth.
yeah. Yes.
JJ,
And,
I couldn't agree with you more. He said we need to dissolve their immunity and provide parent-involved committees for oversight. Oversight's a big deal for me personally. I believe I think oversight will come at some point. I'm not exactly sure the best route to that. I'm sure parents need to be involved in that committee for sure. We need to, I think we as a group, those that are involved in this issue, really need to look at what kind of oversight actually works. And I don't care what industry it is. You know, if it works somewhere, you can take it as a prototype and remold it and use it again and work it.
And a lot of and I'm afraid, like, and I know a lot of them are speaking out more, but a big roadblock is these parents are scared to speak out because if they have open cases, the retaliation. And I was that parent, and I'm, you know what, I got to the point where I said, you know what, this is going on too much, and in a county that I'm very familiar with, like in Cherokee, they know me very well. I mean, I mean, very, very well. And my thing is why is not anybody speaking out? They're not calling these people out and why not?
I think they're afraid.
They were afraid, exactly. Because
and that's how they've controlled it. They've controlled it.
I would
but I
never
tell you
think
what,
this county was like that. Never.
You're my 4th episode on Cherokee County, so that tells you that they are starting to speak up, and I do receive calls constantly.
And that's good to know, because I'm glad that people are starting to voice themselves, because I have begged and come on, everyone, like, step forward. I'm okay to go call their butts out. I mean, because if they want to lock me up, they've tried. What am I doing so wrong? But standing up for what's right, because why are you taking these kids and not the reunification number in Georgia has dropped. I forgot what it's 60-something% in 2024. It's not, so these kids are not being reunited with families. Candace Broche said that herself in a meeting with the state or the house or something, in one of these meetings that they had. And I was like, I was at 84%, but I just know it was up there. So there's no reunification being done.
Did Candace say it with a smile?
Yes,
probably. She always says everything with a smile.
And then but then turned around and let them know that they all got raises because they were so overwhelmed, and they're going to start seeing changes. I ain't seen it yet, because I can't tell, because even the improvement plan that the HHS put the state of Georgia on in 2017, they're still failing, and they violated families' constitutional rights, due process, and equal protection, and they're still doing it. That's the biggest thing.
And Candace Brose is sitting in that group, Georgia Parents Against DFAT.
Yes.
She is watching all of the fraud. Yes. She is noting everything. And she's also noting there's a lot of workers in there too, from Cobb County, from Cherokee County.
And when I caught mine in there, the ones that were out, they either blocked me or because I called them out. Oh no, like and some of them removed themselves. They blocked me on LinkedIn because come see me. I want y'all to see me. What's up? Like, why are you? Why? Because why are y'all trying to fish for information on these parents? Stop being bullies. Stop.
Because what they do is they use it in court, and
Yes.
that's exactly what. So they have this little thing where they go in and they see, okay, and then she sits there, and I call her out all the time in that group. She don't say anything. I've emailed her. I've asked
They
for a
use
meeting with
fake
Rescue
names.
the Fosters. She will not respond. So she knows, and she just sits there and silently.
They've got fake Facebook profiles too, because like when the one contacted me on Facebook, we weren't friends, but it's not even her name. The name is Amanda Lee, and I looked it up. There's a psychologist in Georgia for the DFC named Amanda Lee, but it wasn't the lady's name. So, and that is still open. And I just gave that out, but so they're probably gonna block it now, but I don't care. You know, like, but they have fake.
Yeah,
profiles
they build fake
Yeah, for sure.
profiles, and they go
Yes.
through the parents, and then they tell,
and
then they
yeah,
use it in court.
It's all
they had
lies and
15
deception.
pages. Yes, and then 15 pages of the directory on the staff for the whole state of Georgia of just numbers that I know that they've used just to call and hang up to say that they've, because it's happened to me. And I looked up these numbers on, when I found that on the directory, I sent you the staff of for Georgia, and there's numbers that they have that are just sitting there, but they use these to just call and but say that they've contacted the parents. And they did that to me when they got my son in care, like when they took him in. She said she contacted me. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. But I looked up that number, and sure enough, she called and hung up. Is what she did. That's it. Nothing else. And that's and a lot of them numbers are. I mean, why would they spoof calls? Is what I call them. They're doing stuff that's shady, and they're getting away with it. They need to be held accountable. Like this
and it's because they can't be held accountable because there's no oversight. They're their oversight, which is no oversight at all. A couple things in the chat. JJ said we need to start sending our cases to the White House Doge. Okay, so actually, if you go over to the Facebook page of Connie Rigoli and Family Forward Project, they actually did that a couple months ago. They were sending letters to, I think they were sending them to someone directly. I can't remember who it was. Was it Marjorie?
I've also
Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, I've also been in touch with Barry Loudermilk's his right hand man, like and I've like even another person from Cherokee County, because I guess when I messaged the White House or something, somehow my request got forwarded. The Washington office forwarded my request to Barry Loudermilk's office down here in Georgia, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I know on the podcast with Darren, with CPS Breaking News, we had a Mr. President show back in February on Valentine's Day, I believe it was. And, you know, look me, like, because I'm so ADD, but I was like, yeah, let's go. Like the big, you know, let's I'm do like everybody else. And how mine got picked out of all these requests, I have no, because I didn't even, the
Danielle,
organization that I put down.
I have to tell you something that's going to shock you, because I just pulled up Devereaux's Board of Advisors. Guess who's on there?
Who? David? The judge?
Barry Loudermilk. Wayne Dodd, District Director, U.S. Rep. Barry Loudermilk. This is why I always look at the
that's
so they play both sides. So what they do is they friend you, and they act, but you know, I can literally
and it's funny that you say that, because his person that works up under him, like his set was more, and he was curious because he was more about the financial part of it. He's wanting to know where this money goes, and what he had no idea what was the funds.
Oh, he wanted to see how much information you had.
Yeah, and he still don't know, because now I can't. I mean, and well, I'll talk to you about that.
The last one I put in there,
and because there's another person in Cherokee County that would know, and because I don't want to put too much out there, but I want to ask her first.
This is why I always go straight to the Board of Advisories. It's crazy what you find on here.
I've still talked to a subcommittee constituent with John Ossoff, Kennedy Slay is with his subcommittee, and that big investigation that John Ossoff did, I don't even know why, because the whole reason for the investigation was about the removals, and they're saying that 84 of these cases were what was substantiated, but they weren't looking into it was like he was looking at everything else but what he needed to look at, and it hurt the parents more than helped, because they retaliated on us bigger than ever that time. And I would tell, I said, man, it's coming, y'all. I said, just prepare yourselves, Georgia. I said, anybody going through, I said, just prepare yourself, because that investigation was horrible. Like 100 cases and I was one of them cases. And do you know what they told all of us parents? This is what Candace Bro's reply was: our concerns have been reviewed and satisfactorily resolved. I said, excuse me, my son's still out in Texas, lady. If they've been, and then why is this still going on in 2025? Like the same due process, equal protection. Why are these kids?
They don't even count the kids that are missing.
Yes.
Okay.
Why
the kids
can't
that
the
are
kids
missing
go to family? No, they don't. Why can't the kids go to family?
Sylvia, I don't see him on the list.
Did you scroll down? Because I just scroll down. Right there. Go right there. Gino, stop. Go up. Go up. Right there. Wayne Dodd. Stop. District Director,
yeah, right there to the
U.S.
left.
Rep.
Yeah.
Barry Loudermilk.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
You can zoom in.
Wayne Dodd, because that's the person that wow. I've never heard the Wayne Dodd name, but the guy that was Paul, but I will definitely, and he's the district. Barry Loudermilk is a representative for Cherokee County. And we have had a meeting with the guy that his right-hand man, Paul, and never heard back from, this county needs to be held accountable. Like they're doing this to kids, and a family just got their kids back finally, but she just went on the news about the drug test out there in Cherokee County. But she just got reunited with her kids, just the other day, her girls finally, and she's been going through it. And she went on the Atlanta News First about the drug test out there in Cherokee County, and but that's the only other family that I know of that's been, because my son, it wasn't because of the DFCS that I got my son home. It was because me and my aunt. It wasn't because of them. They were trying to keep him away from us. And, it's just, we could not get a definite answer.
The local media needs to start covering this stuff. It's their job to start reporting this too. So a couple more things in the chat here I just want to address. Kara Davis 59 said, my kids were adopted out. Do I even have a chance of getting them home? They were adopted in 2015. I know y'all can't give out lawyer advice. I was just wondering. I want them back. 2015, 10 years.
There's families that have been going through it for so long, and these kids, we don't know what the doors are going to open when, but we just got to keep fighting. We can't stop.
This is where we have to come together, because
unity.
And so please reach out if you're fighting, because we have to unite. Danielle has a following. I have a following. Dan has a following. Tiffany, all of these people, we're coming together. We have to, because there are so many people that have lost their rights, haven't seen their children. They don't know where they are. And the thing is that, I'm sorry if you're going through that. I don't have kids, and I couldn't imagine having kids and going through that. But,
it's like
I don't ever want to say stop. Yeah, I don't ever want to say stop, because the thing is that when the kids do turn 18, the first thing that they do is they start looking for their biological family.
Yeah, I can't wait. 3 days and my daughter's 18. I cannot wait. I'm so excited because I know she.
So that's God bless. Kara, so if you go over to rescuethefosters.org to the contact us section, you can go there and you can leave leave Sylvia and KK a
There.
message there, and they'll get back to you. They're very prompt on that, so you don't have to worry about waiting a long time.
Well,
Sylvia works
unless
very
I have a
hard.
lot.
Let me
I
just
was
tell you.
gonna say I'm getting a lot of messages, guys. I am
Yeah.
trying. I am trying to stay up to date, but they're coming
all
in
these
like nonstop.
all these parents are looking. They're wanting like, and because I with the same thing, you know, and I had all these messages coming in. I'm like, I want to help, and then they would say that I'm not contacting them back, and I'm like, look, I said we're all in this together. I can't. I wish a miracle could happen overnight where all these kids are just returned home and it's abolished. This system is just done with. But I can't. There's only one of me. But you know what? I tell them. I said, you know what you can do? Keep fighting. Don't give up. I said, and keep be the voice for the voiceless, because that's what we got to be. We got to be the voice, because if we're not, they're going to keep doing this. I mean, there's even that thing that Joe Biden signed in January. Nobody's talking about it. And it's under the Title 4B of the Social Security Act. But poverty is supposed to be no longer a reason for them to remove children. It's part of that. And they're not talking about this. And you know what this podcast said one time? They said the parents got to be, if they want to implement it, we got to make the states. Otherwise, these states are not going to do it because of that money, that federal funding. We got to be the voice and push these. We got to apply the pressure, because otherwise they're just going to keep getting away with it.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to stand out, and we got to stand up and voice ourselves. We don't, I mean, if I can be the strength for other parents to get the courage, which I know it's helped a good many, you know, because trust me, there's times that I've shut down, and that's when other parents reach out. Brenda's a big one, Darren, and Cherokee County, and parents in Cherokee. I don't want to put their names out there right now, but they've reached out to me. Danielle, what's going on? And talk about, like, you don't leave, no brother left behind, no sister left behind. That's what we say. No one left behind, because that's how it is. We're in this together, y'all, and we got to come together.
There's also something else that just happened starting July 1st, I believe it is, where the open records for adoptions I've got I posted it. You could probably Google it, but it's either July 1st or 30. I can't remember exactly the date, but this is something that's new in Georgia.
Did you know Brian Kemp and Candace Broche? Candace Broche used to be his secretary a long time ago. Somehow they have a history of.
Yeah. I heard they were really good friends.
Yes, and in a way, I feel like he is protecting her, and I've claimed
Absolutely, he is.
Because
absolutely.
Georgia is a state that should be on the radar, definitely called out, like Maine, Texas, all these other ones.
Boy system, every other county, and it's
Camden County down there, like
Camden County, huge, good old boy system. Yeah, it's really sick because they don't.
Like Cherokee's wanting to be the golden county, the role model county. Well, I'm sorry, no,
they're the role model for corruption. That literally they got it.
They keep it so hidden. Let me tell you, because I know a lot of the ones that have been in that county, that have been in involved. This is all new people that have came into this county and work in this, and they've somehow, because there's very few ones that haven't been, that have, and those ones that have been there a good while, they're going to be like, they're it's done for them. Like but all these new ones, they've somehow, and it's been since 2019, because I'm telling you, the more we speak out in this county, the more they're listening. I know, because I call them the elders, but they're starting to listen, and you know, they're starting to realize it. It's just a matter of time. Right. I wish that the Superior Court judge that just retired, Judge McLeay, that when I went in front of her, my fate was in her hands. Like the destiny of what's going to happen to me. They wanted to pull all my time and send me to prison for 2 years. I would have never had a chance to get my son. I went in front of her and she said, well, what are you expecting me to do? And I said, I can't tell you what you can and can't do. I said, I'm at the hands of you. Like, you're the one that's going to determine my future. And I said, but I have my brother. I said, my mom passed away. I said, and please, I said, I'm fighting for my son. He's in foster care. And this is a judge that shook my hand, gave me my drug court certificate when I graduated that program. This is a judge that also sentenced me to prison in 2011. And you know what she said? 60 days, time served. And she said, get out and get your son. She said, get that boy home. That right there is what you call that's real. That's truth to things, because they knew my son should have never been in the system's hands. Never. DFCS, that's how involved and that's how much it's changed in this county. And it's every time I've spoken about it, even on social media, somehow my videos get deleted or they get shut down. So we got haters. This county's got haters. And I know that one judge, the woman judge, she's bad. She's a Superior Court judge now. She started all that mess. Yes,
the roaches
Davis.
don't like the light. They don't like exposure.
Right. Right.
Shaz,
she's a
Shaz
Superior Court judge now.
Shaz said, you're talking about people I paid child support to a dead man. These are some pretty powerful people, and that was after I got my son back, and the judge said everything they did was illegal. JJ said, Candace Broach's husband, Jason, is a healthcare lobbyist that worked for Chile. Yeah, he was best friends with Kemp when my daughter was medically kidnapped. Wow. And then Kara said she will definitely reach out to you at email.
Okay. This whole, like I said, that third floor up there at that courthouse is totally, it's like forbidden. If you're a parent and you're on that floor, you're forbidden to be there. Like, I mean, and even people that have known me, that have been involved in my, like in that work, that are public officials, they looked at me like they were just put their nose in the air. Like, that's totally not the impression wow, that was like a slap in the face to me. Like, wow, you just talked to me 2 weeks ago and now you're seeing me on this floor and you act like you don't even know me. Wow.
Yeah, it's funny how they can do that too, isn't it? And how they can just literally like have no expression.
It was a surprise. It surprised the heck out of me. Like,
it's really creepy, if you ask me.
And this one of them, she's the one that got me out of a bad situation of my safety. It was back in 2018, I think it was, and she's the one that looked out for me and my safety, and but for her to look at me and act like I was just some piece of trash that just didn't deserve to be, I don't even know. Like, it was just like, it was bone chilling. It was just, it was horrible. It was just a feeling like I would never think from these people. I mean, I already, and just some, especially like her and a couple, there was a few, two or three of them that I've known, but everybody else, I knew they were, because they're old. They're like, there's one up there, she's a ex-DFACS worker, and they keep changing her job title because it's a different title every email I get from her. Like, what are you, lady? What do you do? You're the DFACS liaison now? How are you the liaison? But yet last week you were the program, whatever. Come on, lady, stop the, you don't think we look at this stuff? Come on now. Parents are starting to, you read the fine print.
Sylvia, were we talking about Judge Jennifer Davis last night?
I don't know if we had her on, but I posted about Judge Davis. She's actually she was on Darlene's case.
She's the Superior Court judge out there now. She's the one.
Yeah.
She's a.
Yeah, because JJ said Judge Jennifer Davis was appointed to the bench in Cherokee on January 1st, 2019. She's a former DFACS attorney. Yep, we knew that. Sylvia said it's been bad in Cherokee County since 2019. This is why Davis is very power hungry.
And that's about the time. And my judge is Jones, which still fills the seat of a juvenile court judge. And but he's not the one that oversees juvenile court. I forgot, but Jennifer Davis is now in the Superior Court side, and in the judge where I the judge that retired was my criminal court judge for my case. And so, you know, hey, if they try anything, I'll be going in front of Davis, so bring it. I ain't worried about them. That, yeah. She and her, when she was running for that Superior Court position, the stuff she put in her I think her website is Jennifer Davis, judgejenniferdavis.com or something. What she has on there is it's just it's crazy with the things she says and the way she has it say, because it talks about families and she will bring these people to justice and protect families. Why couldn't you protect these children, lady? Like, come on now. Totally hypocritical when it comes to what she was doing, that she kept hush hush on the juvenile court side. And
Yeah.
they would do everything in secret, ex parte, because a lot of these families, and I'm one of them, that they do it behind our backs. I mean, they like.
We are hearing how they're doing the ex partes. They're doing something with guardianships too.
Yes, my daughters. I got letters that where they were trying to. Where they messed up was they sent all of us this to the same address, which is great because I love it, because that's when I found out. But they were trying to do stuff behind my back that had to do with my girls, because come to find out, the guardians weren't even keeping the courts up to date with the annual report, just updating them about if they move or anything. And come to find out, they hadn't contacted to let them know nothing in 5 years, my aunt and cousin. And I'm like, whoa. But that there was a review coming up for permanent custody. I said, whoa, wait a minute, permanent what? Custody? But I wasn't supposed to be there. Oh, I called the court. And then another letter went out saying that they were like trying to keep it hush hush. And it was saying that to my aunt, my cousin, the guardians of my girls, saying that I won't be there. I've already been in, and they don't have to worry about me being at the review. Why are y'all trying to protect them when, wait a minute, they were trying to do all this, and that's what they were doing this whole time behind my back. But it's but they almost, I mean, they got called out, and but they were trying to do everything like they were victims, and they're not victims. They were supposed to be looking out for the best interest of my children, not playing victim. And they made it seem like I was doing stuff to my aunt. I didn't even talk to this. I didn't even go around this woman. Nothing. I didn't even drive by her house. I didn't do nothing. But the way she sounded, like, oh boy, I was just stalking her and just making her life. No. I was home. I'd never bothered her, nothing. And they totally just made me out to be some
That's their playbook. They literally, like, when you walk into these courtroom hearings and the way that they talk about the parents, you like start to think that they're horrible people. And then you get to know them and you get to know their story and you get to see their paperwork, and it's not it. Like, I swear there should be a Grammy ceremony for DAs, because DAs, they tell such lavish stories like you've never heard in your life, and they put so much narrative and I mean it's insane. And it's all hearsay.
Crazy. Yes, it is. It's all hearsay. That's what they get. I mean, like my case, it was all hearsay. A fabricated case was created all based on hearsay when they had no right being in my life, period, point blank. They should have never been involved, but they involved themselves, and here we are 3 years later. And I can't even grieve over my mother's death. I haven't even got to grieve over my mom's passing.
That's the other thing that's really disgusting to me, Danielle, is that they always swoop in. Have you noticed, Gina, that they always swoop in when somebody just lost somebody, because that's really when you can't. It's
you're grieving.
The family members. Yeah. And
your grief's stricken, and they're going to come in and take advantage of a horrible situation. That's how evil they are.
Even my mom's sister just her to use it to her advantage. Like it's sickening. Like that's my mom. That was my mom. That just because that was, I understand, but for them to tell the funeral home that my mom only had one kid, that's just wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So Judge Davis was temporarily put on the CASA board of directors, but after the election, she was placed back on CASA advisory committee. On the CASA advisory committee with Cherokee County DFACS director Brooke Ford. And then JJ also said yes. JJ also said, yes, Sylvia, I had a pastor and his wife laying hands praying for my daughter, so they made me out to be a cult leader.
Wow.
They don't like Jesus. They don't like God.
Oh, no.
JJ, it sounds like you have a story. So if you want to share, just please reach out.
I got a friend that reached out to me from Cherokee, and they did the same thing. Like our situation back years ago, and now he's going through. They got his son, and he had the same kind of guardianship and everything like I did. And our stories were, me and him were like, that's like he's my best friend. And now he's having to fight for his son. And they got his son up at Goshen. Some all boy thing up there. I even did parenting class on my own. Like they totally made me out to be they never offered me services, nothing. And I took parenting class on my own. And it was because child support referred me to for access and visitation because I was wanting to see my daughters, and it had nothing to do with my son's situation, but I did it for both. But and they never offered me, but they said that they offered me all this stuff. What they did was that right there before my July court date, my son was he would turn 18 in July of 2023. They would not, my truck broke down. They would not continue that court date because it was 12 days before I said, what does my son turning 18 have to do with this? I cannot be there. Like, I let y'all know I'm stuck. But yet in December of that year, they have a post-18 termination review. So what was that court? So they proceeded on with the court day in July. Wow. They took my rights. That's what happened. A post-18 review is a after they terminate your rights, it's a review. Yep. But they couldn't continue that court date that I needed it. That's the first time I've ever asked for continuance. And no.
Danielle, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you for letting me.
Cherokee County, the mafia must be running Cherokee County. That's what it sounds like. But it's pretty disgusting crazy. What's going on there.
They're changed. Even like with the businesses and the construction there, it's like they took away my whole childhood, like my history. They just tore down my grandma's old house, and they're wanting to change. Like, my childhood memories are just they're going to change the street name and everything. So if that tells you that it's makes you wonder. It's because it's totally not what it has Cherokee County as. When I grew up in that county, and it was a family-oriented community county, and it's not that way now.
That's exactly what Joyful, our good friend Joyful June, who lives in Georgia, she said, I was born here in Cherokee County and still live here. It has changed so much since I was a baby. It makes me so sad.
Yeah.
I didn't know Joyful was in Cherokee County. Joyful, get your loved ones out.
For them to be so much back in 2011 and so until like 2019, they were so about keeping the kids with the family. If the kids got taken, they would make sure that the family's like a family member, they would do right. But after 2019, it's like, I'm just hearing and I'm still seeing it. Like, there's a mom and her sister passed away, and they're letting the foster parents adopt the kid. Why can't the family get? But the other county let 2 of the kids go to be with family, but yet Cherokee won't let one of the kids. That's their blood member. That's their family. Don't do that. Why? That's not cool. Why traumatize a child like that when she's got a loving family that wants her, that needs her home with them? it's like punishment to these families. I mean, I'm
Love
a
of
living,
money is the root of all evil, Danielle.
yes,
I mean, that's what it boils down
yep.
to. These people love money
It's
more than they love human beings, which
and
is
that's what Cherokee
mind blowing.
That's true. Look at all the
Correct.
construction in Cherokee County. Money. There's a parking garage in Woodstock, Georgia. When I used it, and my brother about freaked out, and he's disabled, and he wanted to, yeah. Like they are totally. It's all about money, and that's if they want to be the Golden County and the role model county, they definitely ain't looking. They ain't doing what they should. It should be about togetherness, communities together, looking out for each other, and it's not even like that anymore.
Right.
Nope.
Sylvia, did you want to touch on this pre-adoption person?
Well, I was just wanting to share it out because I know that a lot of foster kids, a lot of adopted kids, you know, like you are gonna like they are opening it up more now.
Good.
This is something new, so don't ask me how it works or anything like that. I just know that it's something new. It's hopefully to
Because they
get
try to
the
wipe
birth
away
certificates.
their
Yes,
history, like their
that and they
family, like
changed
their
the names and all that kind of
biological.
stuff. So please just you know,
Is that
let me
Georgia?
know. Yep,
Or
that's
is that it?
Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
started yesterday, July 1st.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it says
I didn't even know
effective
that.
July
That's
1st,
awesome.
2025, Senate Bill 100, also known as Andy's Law, grants individuals who are 18 years of age or older and born in the state of Georgia the right to request and obtain an uncertified copy of their original birth certificate.
Oh wow. See, and
Yeah.
it's stuff like this that we got to speak out about. If we find it and we see it, that they're not gonna tell us. They're not going to put that out there. That's exactly what if we come across it and we see it and it's not being talked about, speak about it. We got to be the voice. That's the only. I mean, that's a big thing is standing up and speaking out and being the voice and making these states implement what they should be doing. If it's in effect and it's like a federal law, then the states are supposed to be implemented and they're not.
No, they won't tell you. They
No.
will not tell you.
We
I
gotta-
just I think somebody
gotta
else may have sent it to me and I
Yeah.
do have a lot of mama bears that send me stuff. So
We gotta be the voice.
Yep. I'll
We gotta-
repost it again.
I'm like I got a big mouth and that's what Barry Loudermilk's guys told me. He's like, they're scared of you, Danielle. Why? He said, you got the podcast and you got the mouth. I said, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I said, so Barry, are you gonna come aboard and help us? What's up? So I'm still waiting on that answer. Yeah.
Ask him how the now that you know he's over at Deborah, he's on the board of advisories for Deborah. Tell him you actually have some stuff you can let him know.
I hope the other mom is watching from Cherokee and she knows who she is and she's probably and you know who I'm talking. She's probably freaking out right now about that because I'm fixing it.
Yeah,
so
good. Well, everybody's on notice in Georgia, I think, by now.
Who's on the
We're not gonna
board?
quit.
Right.
It's not going to stop.
And
We're going to expose
for
the roaches,
Devereaux.
and they're going to come out.
Right. Hey, Georgia.
And we need to fix the problem. We're going to fix it in all 50 states. That's what we're going to do. So
that's right.
Guys, if you want to follow Danielle, you can go over to her YouTube channel, Danielle Wall, or you can go to CPS Breaking News channel.
Mm-hmm.
And also, is there anywhere else, any other social media people can follow you on?
I got a group. I got a page, Unmasking Foster Care Corruption, on Facebook as well. It's a page, like a group, and you can find me on TikTok under that Danielle Waugh. You can find me on just about everything else too, and under my name on Rumble and all that. I do have Rumble. I do have Kike, Kick, Twitch, everything. I just signed up for a bunch of them.
Awesome.
Not saying I know how to work them, but I just signed up for.
Yeah, it takes a minute. There is definitely a learning curve.
I'm still learning, but I did sign up.
When I started podcasting, I didn't even know how to turn on a computer, and I'm not even joking. I care less about it. I'm a hands guy.
You want to see me?
Skill trade, so this was foreign to me. Also, guys, if you want to follow Sylvia, go over to rescuethefosters.org. Lots of great information there. Click on the 3 bars here. You've got home, donate, media, blog, about us, resources, and contact, and join us. And Rescue Alerts, got great information there. Also, you can go to I had your Facebook page open. You can go. It's Sylvia BG on Facebook. It's easy. And then also, we're gonna end this playing your song from Spotify. Is that okay?
That's great. That's awesome. Yes.
Awesome.
Free from fears.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank
praying
you.
for all the best. Praying for
And I thank
the
you.
nightmare that
Thanks
your
for
poor
having
son
me
had
on.
to go through. That he's gonna recover.
He's in this fight with us. So he's a voice, and autistic kids are starting to step forward too, and they're fighting back. So that's what's up. So yeah, keep fighting, everybody. Keep fighting. But I appreciate. Thank you for letting me on.
Thank you. If you guys can mute while we play the song, just so there's no interruption. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Rumble, also on Foxhole. I guess we weren't on X tonight. Sorry, John. I was having technical difficulties. So, but guys, if you could just share on the Foxhole and also on Rumble, that would be greatly appreciated. You got to get in those algorithms. Also, if you, Sylvia, do we have our next show? What day are we on? We're on Wednesday.
We actually have one Saturday night. Are you gonna be good for Saturday night, Jay?
I'm good. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just like trying to think what day it is today. I don't even.
Yeah, you're like, where are we? What am I doing? I have no idea. So if you're available, Gina, we are gonna have a show Saturday night. This is Bailey Templeton, and this is another horrific story that DFCS totally ruined this child. I don't want to give you all the story, so tune in Saturday night. It's crazy. Another hospital, Children's Hospital, St. Jude story. So join us Saturday night.
Oh boy, those hospitals. Watch out for them. Okay. God bless everybody. Have a great night. Again, if you guys can mute while we play the song, we'll see you next time. Take care.
Hey guys, what did anybody think about this? Ended up pretty good. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hear me all right? Yeah. Looks like my voice is coming out there. I know why Darren don't come in. Say hello. What do you think of that, Darren? We didn't get any shout outs for us, but that's okay. We're here.
Give us a little bit of one. We got one for a brief second. We got a little shout out. We up with them for 2 hours, so we just got a brief one. But
we had a lot of. I was my number one fan. Did you see that?
Did you see that? So we have now gotten monetized. They approved us. So,
I'm sorry?
We got monetized on YouTube. They approved us.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's what that's all about. Okay.
Yeah, so we can do that. They can actually now your fans can go ahead and send you. We have the super chat now, so they can send you money. Like they want to send you, to get on there. Like there's different levels of why you want to do the super chat. You could be like, so you make sure that your thing gets read, or it puts them up front of your comments. It does all kinds of things, and that money will go to you there, Brenda. So we've been monetized finally. Thank you very much, YouTube.
Yeah, finally. YouTube doing us any favors. No, I was just thinking that they're talking about that Devereaux and stuff because Devereaux are all over the place. It's crazy because in Florida they try to keep that information from you, and it's just like, whoa, what's going on here? Like I said, I didn't realize that this Partnership for Strong Families was Devereaux, the same thing, until my rights were already terminated. It was like they have them all over Florida, especially like I say, is Gainesville, Live Oak over there, Lake City, out in Fort Myers, because that's what I was. They shipped my daughter out to Fort Myers, which was like 7 hours away from where we were. And then come to find out, like I'm also looking at the discoveries from my Charlotte County case from 2019 when I tried to get my daughter out of that abusive situation, and come to find out they said she had some type of counselor and it was a guy's name said he was from Devereaux, and I'm like, well, geez. And then I tried to reach out to this Fort Myers Devereaux, but it's like, oh, we don't know this guy. We don't know anything about this guy. It's like Brian Weir. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's something else. It's just like that. It's so disheartening to think like your kids are just thrown in with these strangers that have no idea what their needs are, yeah, or what their likes are. And it was just so weird to me to go like that many years and have, that stuff happen, have my rights terminated. And then my Charlotte County case comes out, and, the dependency case is being mentioned in my discoveries. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it's like, are the different counties or whatever, are they joining together in this thing to steal children? It seems like they're working together there.
Yeah, well, you figure those children I say this all the time. These poor freaking kids get thrown into this stuff. We as parents get to, we have support and we have our family here, but these kids just get taken and they get thrown into the mix of something. They have no support. They don't know anybody. They don't, there's nothing at all for them. They got to go into survival themselves, and it sucks. It sucks for them. It's awful what they do to them, and to put them into these shameful places like they do, like with Danielle's son, your kids. It's asinine, and how America's not standing up for that, I have no idea, but they better freaking start.
I'm telling you, we're gonna see, but
I'm surprised that Danielle isn't here.
Hmm?
I'm surprised that Danielle didn't come flip right over here.
Her blood pressure's probably out the wall right now. She can get through that show without any interruptions, I'm sure. But what that went on for like 2 hours, didn't it?
2 hours.
Wow, close to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad you're able to do that. I think we should start doing that, Darren, with shows like when that what is it, God, Sex, and Love or something, that Miracle. She does shows for Allie, and then we could just sit back and let Allie do the talking, because I think they're really getting out there trying to figure out, get their story. And not only get her story out, is their goal is to save the kids, and that's what my goal is.
And she sticks to that very, 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 very firmly. Like if you try to come in there and try to do something that you're not supposed to be doing, she gets very angry about that.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, you're not, like if you're not real, then
oh,
like she stands firm to that. Like if you're trying to just get views off of her, things like that, she'll call you out. Like she's very, very much, like that's her game, is the CPS and the kids thing. That's what she, like she doesn't even, that's what she wants to expose, because she was trafficked by CPS. I mean, that's where all of her stuff came from. And I don't know if people think, and I know that some of her stuff seems crude, but if it seems crude to you, imagine what it was like to live it. That's what I tell people. And they're like, why do you play that so gross? Well, this poor girl had to live it, like, so, like these kids being taken, their lives aren't fucking, excuse my language, but it's not, like crimson clovers. It's not good. A lot of these kids, their lives, once they get taken from these families, is awful. And if it's not on that skin, like she's not, like they're not all in the circuit of, the politicians and stuff, but just what goes on in these foster families' homes, doing, bad things. And this is what's going on. These CPS agents don't screen these people. No one's getting screened. No one's getting anything in these cases. Like nobody's getting watched. Like they're just throwing kids in homes they don't even know nothing about. Pedophiles are sitting there with their arms wide open. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's what I can't figure out. It's just like, I was watching something where, okay, they were saving the kids out in Florida or something like that. But the cop says himself, he says, it's very questionable that these kids that are running away, okay, because a lot of them were fosters, and then all of a sudden they're finding these kids, okay. Well, he's saying, well, it seems very questionable of who would take these teenage children into their homes. That just doesn't seem right. Like, we can understand people in adopt babies that, don't have a home or something like that. But to take, and adopt children that are teenagers, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
No, and I don't understand why they are even being adopted. Like when they have the right to say what
Yeah.
they want to say and live how they want to live and do what they want to do. It just doesn't. I watched a show not too long ago. We aired something. I don't remember what show it was on. But they were talking about how a lot of families don't even, like they come in there and they're like, look, this is the way things are going to be. You just whatever, and we'll just whatever, and that's going to be it. We get our check. You just make sure you're here when the CPS people come and check us out. Otherwise than that, you go do your own thing. Run away. We don't want you here at our house. We just want the check. So, and we'll let you be free if you, So these kids are just coming to these foster homes. They're not getting any sort of monitoring or being checked or whatever, and then they're just thrown off, and these families are just getting their checks. That's it.
That was so weird about my daughter because, come to find out, well, she's in this place. Besides, it's worse conditions than I ever could imagine that it was, and they had blankets up over all the windows. Besides the fact, in my discoveries, I'm saying the only time my daughter got to go out, she says she doesn't play outside. She doesn't go anywhere. The only time she got out, it was to go to school or go to this church and whatever that church was. But I mean, they're throwing kids into different cultures too, which it doesn't even make sense because, especially I'm thinking with Sage, it really doesn't make sense to me. That how do I know this Haitian family? How do I know that they're not illegals? How do I know that? And then when all these people are being raided and stuff, how do we know our kids aren't in the mix of people when they're arrested as illegals and they happen to have white foster kids in their house? I mean,
another perfect storm, Brenda. Another perfect storm for our government to be able to steal kids, and you'll never know about it. See, these kids will never be reported missing because no one cares. You don't know. I don't know. I don't know where my kid is. You don't know where your kid is. So they could be in that situation. And guess what? They get taken. The government gets themselves a fresh batch of kids. And then they often go. They sell them. They do whatever they freaking do with them. Medical research, whatever they do. And no one knows that they're completely gone. Like we would never have a freaking clue. We don't have, I mean, you don't want to think that way, but that's the reality of things. And that's what's going on in this country. And, it's a terrible thing. It really is. I mean, I'd love to think that our kids are at Disney World having the best time of their lives, and they're not with us now because they can do that, but that's not the case, and we know that that's not the case.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard not to think that because to me, if my son or my daughter had the opportunity to reach out to us, they would. Something is stopping them from doing that. Whether it be they told them that your parents are gone. Maybe they told them, oh, they're in prison. Who knows what they're telling the kids because they lied during the case.
Right. My wife says it all the time. What do they say? That we're dead? You know what I mean? They get told that? Did they get told that we didn't want them? What do they get told?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
That's torture. How they can do that? We talked about that on Tip of Punisher show earlier. If that's not mental abuse, then I have no idea what is. The fact that you lie to these kids and tell them that your parents didn't want you or that you were dead or whatever they tell them, but you look at their stupid manuals and they say the one thing that you're not supposed to do, the kids lie, you're supposed to tell the truth. But just as well as I do, if you're in a visit with these kids and you start telling them, no, we want you to come home and all this stuff, they'll stop your visit. They don't want you telling your kids that.
That's well, I got my visits canceled for several months because they said that we were saying we're trying to comfort the kids saying, well, you're going to be home soon, okay, because that's what we were being told. But then they're like, oh, that's an adult thing, you can't talk to the kids about that because you're confusing them. Are we the ones that are confusing them? They're asking to go home. But the thing is, with that Judge Jennifer Johnson, that now wants to imprison my husband so she can feel safe. I'm sorry, like I say, I always say, it's not me you have to worry about. It's good Lord above because He knows the truth. But it just doesn't make sense. I don't even know where I was going with that. To tell you the truth. Oh Lord. But
It just
I mean,
like
I wonder what the true number of kids that are actually abused are. I mean, I know we do the numbers and the math and everything here, but I wonder how many kids are actually being abused. Because you know what? I don't know any of them. I know a lot of people. I don't know any parent out there that's abusing their child. I know a lot of kids that get yelled at because they're thick-headed and they don't listen or whatever, and you can't. But I don't know anybody that beats their kids. Never have.
right.
You
Or
know,
even
like that.
if
That's
like
just some,
I don't know, even if half it was true, like say for instance, you told your child, well, you're gonna have time and you're gonna time out and you have a chair in the corner and you're gonna have to stay in that chair. And then they would somehow twist that around that's an awful thing too. Like, or I mean, the Bible says you spare the rod, you spoil your child. I mean, we got we got whippings when I was a kid, but
also says that if you mess with the children, you're going to have concrete shoes too. They talk about that. So people heed that warning. Caseworkers especially.
mm,
Your afterlife is going to be no good. Nope. No, it's
man.
not.
Yeah, it's just like and it seems like it doesn't stop with the children either. Since they're noticing that they can make money on the elderly as well. I mean, how many stories have you heard about these nursing homes and stuff like that for the elderly where these they're being abused? I mean, my son actually sees it as well when people come into the emergency room say or something like that, and their grandma or whatever is very sick. It's strange because all these their families start thinking, well, gee, if we did this, all of a sudden they're going to abandon their loved one because of the love of money. It doesn't make sense. Like they say, the same thing with the family members when it comes to your children. Say if you had the opportunity to take your niece and nephew in or something like that, and then they turn around and then they just get so greedy or something. It doesn't make sense to me because I see my friend over here in Louisiana. She has taken her niece and literally she's like a little bit younger than me. The last thing she wants to do is be taking care of this 14-year-old girl.
Mhm.
Her family's her kids are all done and grown, but she saw that this girl was going to be ending up being put in an institution because she did need somebody to take care of her. Her parents were drug addicts and admittedly they couldn't take care of the kids. So and I just got to give it to this lady because she has been doing everything. And this girl, I tell you, she's 14 years old. She's never went to the store and bought like clothes before. She never did this and she never did that. Like all this stuff was new to her. And I've been kind of hanging around with them for a little bit. And she's very timid. Like she's saying, well, she wanted to go. Like I went to the fireworks with them last Friday, which was very nice. But I mean, I think it's just a blessing that you have family members that will, stand up for their family. Because I can tell you, my older kids had nothing to do with trying to help get their brother and sister back.
Yeah. I
So
don't know why a lot of families like that, but it's crazy.
mhm.
Absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's how that works. I got to actually, I got to run in the other room for a minute because my
Well,
mother.
I think I should wrap it up too because I'm working on some stuff, and then I gotta go to work tomorrow morning. So
Are you on regular time tomorrow night or are you in the morning tomorrow?
I should be on regular time tomorrow.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
Friday you're doing the morning, right? You said?
Yeah, I try to do it. Yeah, I should be able to do it Friday. I don't know what happened last Friday. I don't know.
No. So, but tomorrow night, regular time.
And then Friday should be regular time too, right?
Okay. So,
Unless
all right.
something's going on that I don't know.
It is. Yeah, I want to start getting I want to get the CPS Victims Hunting Justice Show going back on too next week. So
Yeah.
we got to work that out. So we got to get that going. And
Yeah, we were talking about that, and then it never did happen.
yeah, so we need to do that. That needs to be back in. So we got a lot of things coming, people. I got the website almost done. We have that coming. We got a lot of things coming. So.
Yep.
All
And
right.
we're keeping up the fight. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Don't give up, right? Never
No.
give up.
Good job, Danielle. You really did a nice thing.
Yeah, Danielle, that was great. Do you see her in the chat anywhere? I don't even know where she is. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for Facts Over Lies. Thank you very much, Classical.
Country
All right, see y'all.
From sticks and mud.
Like that.
Our ancestors crossed 1,000 miles over the ocean, leaving behind a past that was negative emotion. When they first sighted land, they all jumped overboard and swam. They couldn't believe they were living in freedom. The government they once had didn't need them. It was tough during the first days, figuring this strange land. Many grouped together and started a plan. They knew they needed something to keep them in line. This is when they wrote the Constitution, man, it was divine. A bunch of men agreeing never lost their mind. They gave us all our freedom, one amendment at a time. And when they finished writing, 39 men had to sign. We have freedom, you can't take away. The Constitution guarantees that. So take your false authority and go the fuck away. The next 200 years came with a price. A bunch of men and women gave the ultimate sacrifice. They did it for the people alive today. You don't hear very many taking 3 times to say thank you, whoever you are, who gave your life, and for their families left on earth alone for their life. Thank you for your gift, the life that you gave. It lets us live as free men. Oh, glory we will wave. Now we are here in 2025, a year led by selfishness. There's no surprise, the government is taking over. It's a friggin' mess. Our kids are being taken by people who must be diseased. Who the hell gave them that power? These actions need to cease. So listen up, you voted officials, we are here to say you need to pay attention to issues, because we aren't going away. We come bearing the Constitution, we'll recite it if we may. We the people is how it begins. The words that follow, you can fill them in, because they aren't true as they were meant to be. You're taking our freedoms one at a time. No one's paying attention except for us reciting these lines. You don't get to take away the rights we were given. Taking away our children should get you in prison. I'm not messing around, it's no laughing matter. Give our children freedom, or feel your teeth shatter. We are the ones who make the decisions. You lost track of your job, we're here to petition. This is your final chance. America doesn't need to fight a civil war. We just need you politicians to hit the door. So do the right thing and leave this city of Washington, or turn things around, give us something to fall again. Give us back our children, not one at a time. We all want the